Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, early risers and insomniacs. Let's all unite in the huddle. Today, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 in Madison, iHeartRadio app worldwide, and of course, streaming live on the YouTubes and on the X and on Facebook. I'm Drew. There's Billy. There's Armin. Hello, boys.
Huddle up, boys. Good morning, exciting morning, and always fun when Matt Arnold and company decide, listen, the Super Bowl, quite boring. You know what we should do? 6-player trade. Like we all have that one buddy in your fantasy league that all of a sudden is like, you know what? It's been a little quiet. I think I might offer Justin Jefferson for Jamar Chase. Why would you do that? Well, because we need something to happen.
Because we're bored.
Because we need something to happen.
Yes.
And yesterday the Brewers said, look at God, let's make something happen here, Drew.
That story popped at about, 8:02, right after we got off the air?
Right after we're off the air. Right
no
after
consideration for the boys here slinging it here from 5 a.m.
Poor Billy's out here getting ready to eat his bowl of Cinnamon Life, and he's just ready to eat his,
Give me some milk.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting ready for his breakfast. And
got the overnight oats that I forgot in the fridge. I got home ready to chow down, and all of a sudden I got to talk somebody off the
we gave it for DP and Colin. Now it's okay though.
I started to get the text from buddies because I basically kind of shut off the alerts for my phone because it got excessive, right? Can I just get alerts that I need? Not like what's coming up on, what WNBA game's coming up or tipping off on ESPN.
I thought you meant group text alerts. That's another one that people are shutting. I have a whole theory on that. Maybe not today's not the right
I've turned
day.
all of those off.
We'll get to those. Yeah, I was getting some of those on Super Bowl Sunday.
Group texts are dying, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, anyway, but
I don't have much, as you know, I don't like to participate in group activities, including group text.
I'm devastated personally.
You can tell, yeah.
But the news of the trade broke, and Caleb Durbin, only here for a little time, short guy here for a short time. And, the Brewers were trotting him around this winter. He was doing some events because he's kind of like a local adjacent guy.
You better believe it.
And then I'm thinking
Extremely
to myself, as I hear the news, I'm like, oh, Billy's going to have to break this to young Carson.
Oh, that's the roughest.
We did. And he was a part of the tour, right? Carson met Caleb at a Waukesha Sports Guard signing in August. And the part of it, Drew, and why I think some of the reaction was because the dude was awesome. Like, he's such a nice kid and such a nice guy. He came on the radio show with us.
Yeah, that's
was phenomenal. A great conversation.
Yeah. Kind of the first time we experienced that personally. He was super great, super awesome. Just
hard
came on
to be
a whim.
Surprised because.
Yeah.
D3
guy, right? Like, Gritty understands it. A lunch pail guy that does all the little things. So understandable why some people were a little bit devastated. But you know what? Unlike what it seemed like the internet reaction was, Drew, after I told Carson, he said, who are the new Brewers? And I listed them off, and all of a sudden he goes, well, I'm David Hamilton. I was like, all right, okay. Well, sounds good.
Well, all right.
Guess we've moved on faster than Brew Fanatic 84692.
Yeah, he's moved on.
I was wondering how that was going to go, though. That was young Carson's first experience in the sports is not puppy dogs. And it still is.
Getting kicked in the nads.
Yeah.
Grabs the baseball bat, gets into the pose, and goes, I'm David Hamilton. And
he moved on quickly.
Right away. Through the baseball.
Kids are so
smacked that thing
resilient.
and ran it around the park.
Like Armin, your daughter getting the surgery, my daughter with her tonsils and adenoids. Kids bounce back so fast.
No idea. Well, yeah, she did just bounce right back. Now, it was tougher for me because when I always use this example. When I was 9 and my dad told me Paul Molitor left to go to the Blue Jays, and it was hard for me to take. Now, I was more of a older, more actualized mind where I was like really devastated because he was one of my, favorite players, obviously. I couldn't understand why you wouldn't want to be a Brewer anymore. And then, you don't understand those things when you're young, but maybe he's at the age where he can he's more equipped to take it.
And Drew, I think this is the best part. Armin Sarian just compared the loss of Paul Molitor to the loss of Caleb Durbin.
Yeah.
I mean, like that,
as one does.
I mean, like you see it for some reason, and I appreciate it because Mighty Mouse was a very, very feisty and competitive guy, and maybe the manager loved him even more than a lot of fans here in the Midwest. But he was he became a quick fan favorite over there.
At least they brought in another short king in Jet Williams earlier.
You can't go away from the system.
But the thing is, like my guys who I know that know ball.
Yes,
the ball knowers in my circle. The immediate reaction, like I didn't even know that the trade had happened yet, and I got a text from a buddy saying this is a steal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, something just happened.
Sweet. Sounds like it's going to be fun.
Boom, fire up.
Yeah, I was
the
trying to be the first to alert you guys in your
fire it up
phones.
to X, and it's like, well, there it is. Like, okay. And then, all right, you dive in, and it's like, I do like what the Brewers have done. Like, anybody want to go back and, well, this isn't that exciting, right? This isn't a big deal. Like, oh, this lefty they got's got a 4 ERA in the minors and stuff. And like, okay, can I refer you to Priester, Quinn?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Good one.
Those numbers are always
and
deceiving.
He spent time in Boston, and when the Brewers evaluate a guy and they see a profile that they like and they strike, you're like, well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on both of these guys, like being in the rotation and contributors.
Excited to hear it and excited to see it. And also, Drew, like all this signifies for sure is Chris Hook need another extension, right?
Oh, yeah.
Busiest man and hardest working man in Milwaukee will be Chris Hook for the next 6 to 8 months. But when the Brewers double down on their strategy, I'm going to be a fan of it because it's been successful for the last leaning on a decade, right? I mean,
that's right.
When I would add in like when Freddie was traded for in the Adam Lind deal, they grabbed 3 19-year-old pitchers. That was the start of why you make a deal right now, 10 years later. Like, yeah, we're going to get 2 players who were top 100 prospects, and one of which who was as lauded as any in Harrison.
Now, here's the thing, though. And again, history is the guide. If you're sitting there going, okay, well, as long as the Brewers keep Chris Hook, and Chris Hook we trust, he's been phenomenal. But I'm old enough to remember that when Derek Johnson left, people thought that it was going to all fall apart.
Oh, we're going to miss
Chris
DJ.
Hook.
That's what I kept hearing. Yeah.
I'm not going to in any way diminish what Chris Hook has done because he's been fantastic. And I agree with you. Keep that guy, give him a 10-year deal. I don't care who the manager is. Yeah, this is your pitching coach, right? That's the way it should be approached. However, you wonder, are they now organizationally? Is there the next Chris Hook in waiting? Is Jim Henderson the next? Are they Chris Hook exit proof? Because when Derek Johnson left, we thought he was really good. And the effect that he had, it's like, well, how are they going to replace him? They didn't. I mean, they didn't miss anything. Chris Hook took over. Is there another one? That's what makes a good organization, that you're immune to the departure of one person. Ron Wolf always said, you better have, the guy, your next guy, and then the guy after that. You better have your eyes on whether it's a player or a coach. Or even an assistant, like the Packers that lost some assistants. Do they have the next guy in mind? Do they have they replaced him? Or not just moving guys up, but do you have guys outside the organization that
in your network people that you think plug and play? I mean, look at it. Mike McDonald, a perfect example, wins the Super Bowl. 25 minutes later, on the sideline, on the field, it's Stacey Dale's Clint Kubiak's like, yeah, I'm going to be the coach of the Raiders next year. Sorry. Yes. So you got to go and find a new offensive coordinator to get you right back to the same spot.
And you're shopping in the bins that have already been picked over because everybody else has made their moves.
Everybody else has their guys. That's a great point about Hook. And the interesting, he was the AA pitching coach, right? When he got elevated, right? So it was like the Woody, Peralta, that kind of group. Then they brought him up. And now they're doing a lot of that development, Drew. All of these guys are on the doorstep, right? I mean, that either were dominating AAA last year or have pitched in the big leagues. And Harrison was a massive centerpiece of the Rafael Devers trade last year. Now, say what you want about it. And this is where I even felt more excited about the decision and more excited about the trade, even though I love watching a Division III baseball player run around in a Brewer uniform. And Caleb Durbin turned himself into a good defensive third baseman.
Really good.
Hit almost 260. Looked like he's got a little bit of pop in that bat, a little bit of clutch factor. But, I mean, I don't know. Lefties that got this kind of movement and that amount of pitch selection doubled down with the Brewers having the players and the staff and the support staff to go along with it. And you mentioned the name that I was waiting on in Quinn Priester. If I'm Craig Breslow and the Brewers call me, I'm probably hanging up if you're asking about one of my AAA pitchers. If you're asking about one of my AAA pitchers and you're giving me a package that people are going to say, oh, 3 players. Oh, one top 3 rookie of the year candidate last year. What's the catch? Because you know something that I obviously apparently don't.
Our pal Vinny Rottino, he X'd right after the trade. I can see breaking camp with Woodruff, Priester, Mizorowski, and Patrick. 5th spot competition, Sproat, just acquired, Gasser, Harrison, and Henderson. Depth, Drowan, Rodriguez, and Tate Keener, with DL Hall as a multi-inning weapon. to start.
And as we know, that word depth is so important. I mean, how many times did the Brewers need pitching last year when guys went down and get hurt? Rotation rarely holds up for the whole year.
You got to have
one reason
7 or 8.
You need to have a bunch of guys.
7, 8, 9 starters. Yeah, it's
the
not
Brewers,
a 5-man. It's 7, 8, 9 man.
The Brewers are hoarding. They're stockpiling those young guys that they believe in, that they believe that they can work with, right? Guys that can become something, which is a great thing because you never have enough pitching, especially these lefties and things like that. The next question does come about third base, though. What's next? I'm sure the Brewers have a plan. Everyone's wondering.
Oh, and you got Ashby as like the swing guy, multi-inning guy too. So you got a bunch of left-handed
3 years of experience. Holy cow!
A bunch of left-handed arms. But yeah, Armin, now you look at it and go, well, we got no third baseman. Well, first of all, a lot of ball game left.
A lot of ball game
left.
And
it's like, I don't know if that means like we've been training Sal Frelick secretly in a lab all winter trying to get him to play third, or don't know. But I'm sure they'll figure it out. Like when they trade it, and it's like the law firm of Durbin, Monasterio, and Siegler, like all your third base depth goes east. Right? It's like gone. But they've got guys in the pipeline. They've got prospects. What does this mean? Does Ortiz move back and we got somebody else? Does Jet Williams or Made make an appearance at short? Like they got options now, and it's not closed yet. The book's not closed yet. They still might be able to.
Or does, and this was
Tyler Black, whoever.
Where my Dobbler went up, and our friend Dobbler's already checked in. He mentioned Sal Frelick over at third base right away. What about a platinum glove winner getting his chance over at shortstop again? Right, like when I heard it, I thought that was also again going to be potentially on the table because you mentioned Tyler Black. I don't fully remember. I think he was more second base and a little bit of outfield, right?
Plays, third.
Little bit around. He can play around. I think he can probably do just about anything. It seems to me like they've thought about it and played it and messed around with it a couple of times. That there's either want to from the player and or the organization. Right. So like if you bring it up again, then it's pretty clear and obvious to me that he wants to maybe at some point play short, probably because that's where more of the money would be to play shortstop. You might want to showcase that he can do it, but they have so many options. They have so many guys up the middle, and it gives Jet Williams a clear and obvious path, and it gives Jesus Made a clear and obvious path to the big leagues. Gives Andrew Fisher, who's already going to be playing for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic, a clear and obvious shot towards the big leagues in a couple of years. Brock Wilken, Dave Gasper was talking about this Brock Wilken cat all year last year.
Big fan.
Was in love with this dude in the minor leagues in the first half. Then, I don't want to speak out of turn, allegedly got an injury the night that they won the first half. Right? Like he gets hurt the night they win the first half, and I believe was out for almost the entire season, right, Drew?
Yeah.
Kind of hurt, I don't know, Edwin Diaz style, like hurt himself in that celebration, but maybe, who knows? So you're in that spot where you have multiple guys who you want to, when they are at first ready, get to the big leagues and start trying to capitalize on the youth. Because it seems like the league, from when you were covering it and when we all started watching it, whenever that was, whenever you check in and say, I've been a Brewers fan since 1978. I was a Milwaukee Braves fan in 1950. I was a Brewers fan in 2002. That was a tough time for us that were welcomed in at that point. But at a lot of those junctures, you thought you needed guys that were going to get 6 to 7 innings in the starting rotation. That's very much gone. And it felt like you needed 5 to 6 years of minor league time before they looked at you at the big league level. And now it's like, Drew, I don't know, 20 years old, got 90 games in the minor leagues. Let's see what he's got. It seems like they're trying to fast track dudes so much more in the game nowadays.
That's absolutely true. When the Brewers were bad, they would get guys, and then they say, hey, we got a guy making his major league debut. He's 28 years old, been kicking around the minor leagues.
Cal Peterson.
And now you got 19 and 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds. Like, this is the way it should be.
Yeah, because if a dog bites and he bites early, then you have all that service time with him and you have all that production. You're growing that young core. So, it's a great point, Billy, that guys are coming up younger than before, especially the way the Brewers have to do business. I think they'd like to get that value out of them when they're younger for one reason or another, obviously on the field, but maybe as a commodity later on to trade with. So as you saw with Caleb Durbin. So, that is the other side of this. I love Caleb. I think a lot of us love what he brought last year. What really shown in the playoffs. I think he had big games. He was intense. He was ready. He was about the right stuff. He defined that culture in a lot of ways. But you do wonder, was that going to be his peak? Was that his, was he going to get, is he going to get better from there? Or do you sell high on him now? I think that's the challenge in making these moves is you're trying to predict futures. You're trying to project out. He might become a guy that becomes a stalwart for somebody at third base and has years like last year for a 10-year career. And then you might sit back and wonder in a decade. But you might have had a guy that, jumped on the scene last year, had a great rookie year, but would he be able to sustain it? I think that's the challenge there. If he doesn't, you sold high. So
quite the different atmosphere. And just even for him, had he come back to Milwaukee, it's like, okay, you're in the mix for rookie of the year. This is what we expect.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah,
and,
100%.
And then if you let's say you get a rough spring or you start the season and you're hitting 130 at the end of April, it's like, whoa, you start to squeeze the handle a little bit. Like you put pressure on yourself. You wonder, was last year a fluke? What do I got to do? And now he's going to be doing it in the spotlight and the biggest spotlights of Fenway and the Red Sox fans where you're coming in and they're handing you the keys. Like you better be ready to turn some quick laps.
You better be able to play and you better be able to produce and get through those valleys because they always come for a baseball player. And it felt like Kyle Tucker suffered that in Chicago really badly last year, right? Like you when you're a 260 hitter, there's going to be 3 weeks where you're probably hitting 150, 160.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you look just absolutely lost into the box. But when somebody on today, Drew, if you're a Boston Red Sox fan, you're like 256, 18 doubles. All right, sweet. That's only going to progress. He probably has 30. All they're looking at is the stats saying, where are all these numbers? They don't look at the valleys on how you ultimately get there. Exactly. And it does get tougher when you are brought in kind of as the centerpiece here.
That's the spotlight. They're handing you the keys to the job. And the Brewers just staying fluid and flexible like they always do. And this who are we going to have third base? It'll work itself out. It's like saying, we got too many outfielders. Well, it'll work itself out. Somebody will get hurt. Something's going to happen. It always does.
What about our guy Dreamy here on the YouTube chat with maybe my favorite? He said, hey, who was our third baseman breaking camp last year?
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Vinny Capra?
Vinny Capra.
I mean,
what a great start.
A home run on opening day
at Yankee Stadium.
Gets the get up, get out of here from Lane and honor. I mean, that was a moment in a season that looked like it was going to be a moment of 79 wins.
Yeah. Good point.
And there's a lot of Brewers fans, though. I understand, Drew, with a thought like, all right, they went from 97 wins and then traded their best starter, their entire left side of the infield potentially, or their entire third base spot, all of their infield depth. How are they better? And I almost am bullish on saying they will be.
Almost. I don't know about 97, but they'll be in the mix. And it's like they said in Philly all those years, trust the process.
Trust the process. They would chant that at games. That was hilarious.
Process. Joel Embiid.
I know this is a name no one likes to talk. This is kind of a toxic name, but is there any chance Joey Ortiz that was his best year offensively and defensively was at third base? Is there a chance he'd move back over? Or they'd give him a shot to move back over there?
If that's an option.
Something about the mojo at third.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he played pretty well.
I would try it because that was the best spot of his career you got from him. So
it's amazing because the masses are migrating right now. Pitchers and catchers report tomorrow, but they're rolling into town,
getting ready to roll. Yeah,
Ed Arnold's traveling today. Mike Vasallo, the whole all our writer buddies are getting ready. It's like, whew, great! Right after the Super Bowl. Pitchers and catchers. Give us something else to focus on for a little bit.
Loading the truck up. Has that happened already?
Oh, that's already.
That truck's already there. That thing's unloaded
10 days ago.
Yeah,
you missed that release?
I missed it, I guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What are you doing? Hanging out at Fisherman's Wharf with all your blue cat buddies?
Yep. We got
Boston reference. What is that?
We got a lot.
San Francisco. What kind of reference?
All of it.
We got a lot on tap today. We've got Dolph is going to be here for our halftime report. Matt Miller's going to join us, a man about film, talk about pop culture. Super Bowl, shakedown as we still processing what happened there. Hunter Baumgart going to make his first appearance on the Huddle today.
That's right.
First of many.
Yes.
Our pal Hunter is going to have. He was on the call with Matt Arnold yesterday. And he's
got a good question. I like it.
Going to come correct with some clips from that, and he's going to walk us through that. And we're going to talk at the end of the show to Stan Van Gundy about the NBA and about his appearance in the Howard Moore documentary that is this week is the big push.
Cannot wait for that.
We're going to talk to Stan Van Gundy about what it was like to coach Howard Moore, what's it like to know him, and we'll sneak in a couple questions about Giannis, Bucks, Cam Thomas, the state of the NBA. All of that lies ahead. You're listening to The Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
Durbin, deep left center. It is back, and it is gone! Caleb Durbin walks it off for the Brewers.
He might be a small man, but he had a big impact in a short time. Caleb Durbin, no longer a Milwaukee Brewer. Former Brewer, Caleb Durbin.
Had a baby Mighty Mouse.
Get your mind around that.
He had a one of his best moments of the year, Drew, was what became a ringing theme of the 2025 season for Brewers viewing in my house, where I was at the game with a buddy of mine and his young son, and the Brewers were scrappy, but they were mostly down throughout the betterment of the entire game. And then ultimately, right towards the end, after, me and my buddy's son, my son ended up leaving, we were found to be out of the situation, and we missed the entire game, in the entire finish of the game. We missed Caleb Durbin's victory in the victorious walk-off winner that he had because we had left. But he, as we saw, kind of embodied everything that the Brewers were about. Never say die. He was not giving up on any at bat.
Yeah, he's scrappy, and if he plays the way he did in Milwaukee, they're gonna love him there. Right?
I'll love him.
Well, absolutely. He's got team control until 31. Love his story. He's a grinder. A lot of people relate to a guy. A lot of guys like me relate to a guy like that. There weren't, there's not many major leaguers that are my height. However, the Brewers have all of them. But you kind of. A guy that no one really pegged him as a future major leaguer. He kind of went about his business in his baseball career and made something of it and made the most of his opportunities.
Only thing is, I don't know that
stories like that.
I don't know that he'll get the leash or the instant excitement from the fans like Brewers fans gave him, right? Because he was from 90 miles away, because he brought whatever it was, 30 people to his first game, and had all of them.
I was at his first game.
All of them in the jerseys there, right in the family section, Drew. Those are the memories and the moments that Brewers fans will really love.
877-794-1973. A little dust up in the Hawks-Wolves game last evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a couple of them last night.
Isaiah Stewart's
a couple of fights. I think
20-point game.
There are more scuffles than I remember, which I think is funny because more teams are trying to lose than ever before. Teams are trying to lose.
That's the thing. If we can squeeze it in, we're going to talk to Stan Van Gundy at 7:30 today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the Howard Moore doc, and he's in it, and he was Howard's coach at the University of Wisconsin, but his NBA times and stuff. But when you have almost a third of the league, it's better for them to lose than win. It was already, there's a couple things, like if we did this commissioner for a day thing.
Yeah.
Like the NBA, you're going to get into like your 55, 60 games in at the All-Star break. Like what? Didn't it used to be the mid-season break?
It used to be the mid-season break.
It's like the 2/3 poll now.
You do the deadline before the All-Star game, which I always thought was mixed up. It should be the All-Star game, then the deadline, because then you fully understand when your team's done, and then you maybe sell off more assets.
Yeah.
But the whole calendar is messed up.
And now everybody trying to tank because this is a rich draft, and then the next couple don't look as promising. So this is the one you want to get in. So there's extra incentive for teams. Plus, there was already incentive. There are already cases where guys weren't playing for load management. You go to a game on any given night, you don't know if you're going to see the stars, the back-to-backs.
And now that's already into college basketball. Is a lot of people queued up Kansas and Arizona last night to watch two of the best players in the country, and one of them had an illness. And the coach was like, yeah, I thought he was going to play. I thought he was going to play. So it's pretty quick how that changes. Matt Moore, who you mentioned, NBA writer of the Action Network, said it and summarized the entire NBA schedule. I won't go through the entire part of it, but he said, January 1st All-Star break. The schedule's brutal. Everyone's hurt. We just want to make it to All-Star. Post All-Star break to March 1st, which is about 2 weeks. We're rejuvenated. We're ready to lock in and go for it. High-level basketball. We got some rest for more than a day. Ready to compete. March 1st to the end of the season. We're all injured again and all exhausted again. And a third of us are tanking actively, and we'll do whatever it takes to lose. A third of us have established ourselves as playoff teams and are just trying to coast to make sure we don't gas out or get hurt by the playoffs.
Exactly.
And a third of us are in play-in tournament potential, trying to subtly avoid making it what we want to do, because we actually are trying to miss the entire playoffs and get back into the lottery, because if we surge out, we're going to be stuck again. It's a weird spot to
It
be
is
in.
a
It's a
weird-
league
threading
that
the needle.
still
Yeah.
gives you 2 more months of regular season basketball from here on
It's
out.
not hot take hump day. Today's actually buy or sell Tuesday on the program. And well, let's just start it right now. Are you buying or selling that the NBA regular season is the worst regular season in any sport that we follow?
I would buy that. I would buy that. I
would say baseball, like, oh, it's a Brewers Pittsburgh on a Tuesday night. What does that matter? It's just more to watch. It's more watchable to me. I don't know.
To me, even the bigger part is I can't tailgate a basketball game.
That's
Well,
it.
there's
Like
that.
I can't tailgate a basketball
And
game.
I've tried, but that Hyatt parking
Yeah.
garage is not
It does
the same.
not work.
It's
It
just
does
not
not
the
work.
Same. Well, in the winter and stuff. You're right. That's
Yeah,
true.
like that to me is
baseball's
like
a
you just,
different
like,
vibe.
just
for
can't
all
do
the
it.
reasons you laid out from Matt Moore is like there's just the load management, the back-to-backs. Plus, it's just like even you got like OKC playing San Antonio. Like, it's moderately interesting, but it speaks to, and baseball's not immune to this in that, like we said, Sunday night baseball. Like, who's going to watch Phillies and Mets?
1000%.
I'm not
1000%
You watch
true.
the Brewers so much that your bandwidth for the sport doesn't expand to include a lot of the national, like, unless you're, again, seam heads, whatever you're into. But are you going to watch? And I have the MLB package, and sometimes I'll throw on Padres Mariners late night, or to hear my buddy Mud Grant. And
Yeah.
I'll just like, oh, the Dodgers are playing. Let's see what they're up to. But to sit down, the idea of sitting down and watching a whole game, even when they're only 2 hours and 40 minutes, not happening.
It's the no, and as much as Dodgers Padres is hot and spicy, and I might get to see exactly what we were talking about with the scuffles. Like, odds are you will. Odds are I won't be able to lock in for a 2 hour and 40 minutes of it. But I also can't with basketball. I think this is where both of them have, and the MLB has jumped aboard, and I think they've done such a better job of it. They still have a ways to go, but they're marketing as, Drew, hey man, consume the game in 12 minutes the day after. Right? Consume the game in highlight form. Watch our star-studded athletes and the moves that they make and the sensational athleticism that you're missing. They're leaning in more to the highlights. I think the NHL has, in this conversation of the 4 major sports, they got one of the better regular seasons, but it's the least televised and least discussed and least interesting because, again, even though we don't live in a prime 1 of 30 NHL markets, I don't know that people that are watching the Predators or the Golden Knights are tapping in for any Stars and Rangers game, right? Like, it's still, for this kind of content and this much of it, it's a very, very regional deal. But if it's time spent listening or percentage of it, I'd be with you. I'm watching a lot more Brewers baseball.
Hyper local.
consistently.
Plus, the NBA is going through the transition too of, like, LeBron's and Steph are kind of just, they're inching towards oblivion.
The big factor, not as many American stars in this new era. Yeah.
And
that
then
are coming through.
But that doesn't hurt baseball.
That's a good point.
And the NFL too.
it's
The
international.
NFL is still surviving post Brady, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't in the playoffs this year, right? And it's like, okay, and like there's always that transition, but how do you do people appreciate yet Anthony Edwards? Does he have to go to a finals or win a championship to make people realize how exciting that guy is to watch?
Get off OnlyFans would help too.
I think probably. No, I think that's a big factor, Well, no, that's
Billy,
more.
Billy
No, that's
with a
Zion's
sniper
problem.
shot. That
That's-
didn't go past.
I'm sorry.
That didn't go
Zion's.
past.
That's Zion's problem. Is meat chopping and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
look at
Look at me.
Ant's got a good airport.
Yeah, man.
He's just paying up front. That's
Ant's
Ant's
got a good
problem.
airport.
You're
paying
right.
up
Playoff success is a big thing, but some of that
But they've
stuff.
been to 2 Western Conference Finals, Drew.
Yeah,
So the
I
playoffs
know.
are so good, and that's where the NBA regular season is so much worse
True.
because the postseason is so good and entertaining, and so I will watch any playoff basketball game. But if that same matchup is in February, I'm probably gonna potentially even check in on the start of Love Is Blind in the Pots because that's going to be fascinating.
I think it comes down also for a lot of fans that, fair or not, whether or not it's true, there's this perception that they're just not trying in the NBA regular season. I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's true.
That's not fair. It's not true.
But that's a
No.
perception that people have, though.
When
I
you,
saw a lot of guys trying last night.
when you sit courtside and you see the
it's
effort,
just
you-
not
Yeah, but
succeeding.
but playoff basketball is such a different sport that you ask yourself, well, I don't think you get that in baseball from people. I don't think there's that perception that exists. That even though it's a long, slow season, people that still get the idea that these guys are trying to swing and hit and do everything they have to do. But I think they're trying to do it too in the NBA, but it just becomes such a different product that's a perception that so much load management. I think people feel that way. And
I
think
would
that's why
change, Armin. I would change, Drew. I'd change one word of what Armin said for the baseball to basketball, because I do think there's people that question the try factor. I disagree with it, but I think both might be where the care factor is the one where, like, a lot of Brewers fans watch, Christian Yelich strike out in the 9th inning on a Tuesday night in July, walks back to the dugout and say, this guy doesn't even care. Guy doesn't even care. Doesn't even care. How? How do you not care? And that same deal, that question is the one that into the postseason, and you see every moment be a different.
And then playoff systems. A lot of teams make the playoffs in the NBA, so then there's an idea. Well, how much of these games really matter? Is it really coming down to one game or two? And sometimes it does in baseball.
But it's come to the point where, again, making that you're disincentivized to make the playoffs because you'd rather have the better draft pick or tank than get into the playoffs and be one and done.
That's why I think the league thought that expanding playoffs with the play-in was going to be a solution. And really, it exacerbates the problem.
Like, some of the better teams have ended up getting lucky in the lottery, which is kind of like, that's curtailed some things too. Like, for the really bad teams, it's kind of kept a foot on their neck. This one could be a reach for you. This is almost an early candidate for the wake and bake story, though.
I love this.
But when it comes to being a fan and everything that's, we always say the information comes at you at a fire hose now, not a trickle. You know how in youth sports we're anti-specialization. We're anti, like, play more than one sport. Don't just give yourself to one because it leads to injuries and just burnout and stuff. Is it that way with fans too? Is it in terms of the bandwidth? Like, if you're going to be, with what it takes now and what's available and what you consume, can you be as hardcore and informed a Packer fan, Brewer fan, Buck fan, Badger fan? It's almost like too much now.
A little information overload.
A little bit of overload. Like, you only have so much bandwidth to apply. And, like, you can be and then when you get fans that are casual fans, they're not as diehard in each sport. There's almost like a specialization in fandom now that there is. If you're into fantasy football and stuff, you're watching football and stuff, do you have the bandwidth to follow the NBA night in, night out and have on your mind, who's playing an October or November game on a Tuesday night?
I've got a fantasy basketball team right now. We're 9-7, Bill's beastly team. I did not make the team.
Where did you come up with that name?
I did not make the name. I did not draft the team. I did not make one roster move. We're 9-7. I get updated every day on the little ticker what we do.
Spectacular.
Because
Bill's beastly
Drew,
teams.
You're right in there. You're dead on. I got a lot of bandwidth, but I do have to ration it out as to where I can go. And I think we've heard people say this all the time. I'm more of a Brewers fan than a Bucks fan. I'm more of a basketball fan than a football fan.
That's right.
But as much as we're more of a fan of players and teams, I think we do have to line them up into one basket. We got to divide ourselves out. We got to spread our wealth. Spread the love. There's not enough. Well, there's a lot of sports time and a lot of time that we're gonna have to consume here, and I'm gonna have to start getting into a lot more of these sports.
Like the
looking at you, lacrosse.
Yeah, lacrosse is electric. When I see that at ESPN Plus, that's the other thing. It's how things are distributed. But I think there is an aspect of we used to go comfortably as fans from sport to sport and leave the offseason what it was. Now we're in an era where everybody's a cap expert, and I'm inundated in the summer with cap questions and cap. I don't care. It's like,
here's the perfect example. In my youth, like, the Olympics was a daily thing. So far, I've watched like 10 minutes of the Olympics. Stuff on in the background here.
That's a you
My
problem.
wife was
You're up early.
I don't have the bandwidth.
My wife was like, Thursday the men's hockey team plays, and I'm like, I'm so glad you know.
We got to talk to Kappa Kate, because Kappa Kate's been going to some of these.
Hey, let's go.
Get the Kappa Kate sorority sports report.
Are we winning?
From Milan. We're going to talk to her.
I mean, it depends how you define winning. We don't have the medal count.
We will talk. Yeah, we'll talk
winning.
About that.
You know what I mean. Are we winning it?
It's a buy or sell.
Skating, not winning long track.
It's a buy or sell Tuesday on the program. Back end of the program, loaded with some guests. Lots of fun. Interact with us on the NicoletLaw.com talking text when we want to hear from you. Give us your buy or sell propositions. 877-794-1973. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Armin bumping back, little spin doctors for you.
Well, I figured I'd mix it up. It's
Had
the
the
5
lead
a.m.
singer
hour.
on the old show back in the afternoons. He visited us.
Remember
Chris
that.
Barron, maybe Chris. Interesting
like this
cat.
one.
Interesting cat. Yeah, absolutely. 877-794-1973. Oh, I forgot the streamers don't get that. Our music and our podcast has to be, licensing the
The
jackbooted
copyright gods. I don't want the spin doctors lawyers to come at us.
Well,
You know
I'm
what I
glad
mean?
we're doing that though.
Yeah, Chris Barron.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like the spin doctors lawyers they got to be a scary set of folks.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, I mean, if you're thinking of the lawyers that are going to roll up to you and then dance and then also hand you some papers, that feels like the right one.
Yeah, a lot of lawyers stand and work. A lot of people ask why they can't get that in the stream because we got to keep those lawyers and we got to keep those law schools funded with the
They're
alumni
going to hit
donations.
you. They're going to hit you with a 360 pirouette and all of a sudden, bang,
Yeah,
papers.
that's tough. It's tough. It's tough to take.
All right, pitchers and catchers reporting tomorrow. That is sweet news. Brewers making that trade yesterday, sending Caleb Durbin and, basically the entire left side of their third base side of their infield.
Yeah.
Monasterio, Siegler, and Durbin. Now, if Caleb Durbin plays and is the Red Sox third baseman for 10 years and gets into an all-star game or two, tip the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Am I expecting that to happen? We'll see.
Yeah, not quite. No.
I don't know that I expect it. Will I be surprised? No, because he's a gamer.
Yeah.
But the Brewers, obviously, it's not in the Brewers' nature to give up on a guy who is young, cheap, controllable, and on the ascent to a point, unless they know they've got somebody better in the pipeline, in the immediate pipeline, and that they're, they did the analysis. Like they got rid of all these guys. Like, what are they gonna do at third base? They know what they're doing, and they're taking a shot on these two pitchers, hoping that one of them can be like Quinn Priester.
And I got one idea, Drew, and one thing that I feel pretty confident that they're not doing. They're not going and signing Isak Paredes. Right? Like
You wouldn't think so.
I don't.
Question four
I
times yesterday.
feel pretty confident that they're not gonna go and get a veteran.
They did bring back Peter Strzelecki.
There we go. Yeah, come
minor
on,
league
Strez.
deal.
There you
Yeah, come on, Pistol Pete.
is
because
back.
all due respect, I don't think John Birdie is really moving the needle all that much when you look at the different guys that are available on the free agent market that could go play third. You got so many options. You got so many players that you got to find something to do with them. And, Red Hot Tim Knott hit us up and said, I'm kind of stunned Garrett Mitchell didn't get moved for as dinged up as he's been. That one I'm not surprised in as well, because you'd be selling way too low.
Exactly.
They sold high on their two best rookies a year ago offensively in Durbin and Collins. And I think there's a lot of people in baseball, you might love those guys to a different level and an nth degree. If you're betting on the come, I think both of them have regression looking squarely in the eyes. And you're trying to grab a dude that, Harrison struck out 11 in his second big league start. Like, he has got some pedigree and has done it before. I'm excited to watch him.
Absolutely. And they're stockpiling pitching is what they have to do. Young, cheap, controllable. And it's not like they just gave up on Caleb Durbin. Like, do they love him? Would he like to be part of the plans? Yes. But in the big picture, the return they're getting is better.
Now, I did feel bad for the Andrew Monasterio fans, because there were people that I did not realize Andrew Monasterio had so many.
Oh, we're out here.
Fans.
We're out there.
Oh,
yeah. Mona's a big loss because he was always ready as a utility guy. He came up bigger than people realized last year, at least in my opinion. I'm not saying he shouldn't be part of the deal or anything, but I don't think that's just a throwaway to forget. His OPS was up around, I think, 750. He was there for a lot of big moments.
And Garrett Mitchell has been snake bit, right?
That's the thing, the injury bug thing.
When you watch him, though, when he plays and you see him get after it, he can cover a lot of ground in center. He can play any of the spots. He can run. He
so
can
much
hit.
potential. Yeah.
He has absolutely. It's like to give up on a guy like that would be silly.
That would be tough. He's also a first round pick, right? And and they've also been doing better in the first round. So I think that was the other part of this package that I thought was maybe more surprising, Drew, was the competitive balance pick.
Yeah, that was the final throw in.
That was the final thing that must have been to get it over the hump after Matt Arnold mentioned it a couple of times in his presser. And we're going to hear some of it with Hunter at 7 when he's like, I heard the Super Bowl wasn't that good. I didn't get to watch much of it. You can tell either Matt Arnold didn't want to watch the Super Bowl or was pissed he didn't get to watch the Super Bowl because he's like, excuse me, we could have done this any other day except Super Bowl Sunday. But there might have been a moment there where all of a sudden Matt Collins scores the touchdown. It's 19-7. And he's like, I need to go and see the end of this. Sure. take the competitive balance round B pick, right? Just like do it and get it
over with already.
Because it felt like the way it sounded, Drew, they've been working on this for a while, and these ideas and plans have percolated for some time.
It's the sports gods getting him back because they consummated the Peralta trade on David Stearns' anniversary. It's like I'm sure Matt had to send them
karma.
A couple of bottles of wine or something, or
little
some flowers. Sorry to mess up your anniversary dinner, like cutting this deal.
Yeah,
but they had to do that. And
I'd have gone edible arrangement. Some chocolate covered pineapple.
Those are always
maybe chocolate covered strawberries after giving up ruining the anniversary. Natural aphrodisiac.
A little bit of that fresh pineapple is always a good thing to have in there. I think it's always better than those gift baskets they give out at the grocery store. That's all markup, man. There's no bigger markup in grocery than pre-cut fruit, but whatever. I digress.
Pre-cut fruit in the shape of flowers.
Yeah,
that one might take the cake. However, it'd be good though.
You know what,
really
Armin? What about the pre-cut, like the veggies for the grill, like the Blackstone? They got all the onions cut up and the peppers and stuff.
Yeah, I go and they get a whole slow cooker pack or a whole grill pack. It's nice though because you can pretend you really went down in the kitchen and say, "Look, I got all this stuff ready. I'm ready to go. It's all on the grill. It's easy to go." But if you're willing to pay the markup, I guess. But you're paying for the listen. Cutting vegetables is like a very tedious task. So if you're willing to do it, you're willing to put the work in. But hey, I understand why. They want to sell that.
So frugality, Armin, never buy pre-cut fruit or veggies.
And if you're influenced to do it, I will stand outside the grocery store and do it for $5 or $10 or whatever the going rate is. I'll make some extra money doing it. Just
I don't want your
didn't want
dirty hands on my food.
That's a fair point. That's an absolutely fair point. I'll make sure to wear gloves. Guys, that text made me think of something, though. It is always very counterintuitive for fans to think about trades because your intuition is we have a good player. Let's not trade him. Let's trade the bad players. And so often you hear that from fans, but really that's not reality in trades. You have to trade value to get something back. That's why it's not that they didn't like Caleb Durbin. They probably liked him. They probably knew he had value. That's why they felt like they could get something for him. But I just think about that when I think of someone saying, why not trade Garrett Mitchell? If you think he's broken and injured and isn't giving you much, so do other teams right now. They're not going to take a chance and give you anything.
The interesting thing on Durbin is, like, they clearly would think, or they're looking at it, and maybe this is more about Harrison, and I keep mispronouncing the other pitcher's last name. Drohan. Sorry. I kept hearing him say it. I'm like, that's a sweet name. Drohan. They seem like they really like Drohan more than anybody else would think as well. Yeah. Where they clearly identified two dudes that they wanted to bring in and bring back David Hamilton. Because all I could hear is David Hamilton's going to factor in. Well, let's figure out how he doesn't have a 500 OPS. Right. He's going to factor in.
Positional versatility. Yeah,
I'd like to know.
Exactly. All right. We're off and running. Shooting shirts are off. Glad you're hanging out with us on this Tuesday in the good land. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Tuesday edition of the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Drew, Billy, and Armin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 Madison, iHeartRadio app, and of course, streaming Facebook, X, Twitter, dominating in every platform we can on this Tuesday in the good land. Weather's a little warmer out there, boys.
Dude, I just walked
Lighter
outside.
jacket.
It was glorious.
Feels tropical, man.
Lighter jacket.
Nature's shovel.
Of course, it's Coppitt's Law. When I would leave this time of year every year in my Brewers beat days, invariably within 48 hours of my departure, we'd get hit with a monster snowstorm that my wife and young child would be bunkered in for, and someone would have to come and snow blow her out of the
dig her out
18-inch storm. And I would just kind of chuckle, like, nothing I can do. Sorry.
You know what's going to happen.
Sucks to suck.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Sorry.
Not that worried about it.
Now,
see you in 3 weeks.
The reverse of that, because everything comes around and there's always karma. I leave for Mexico on Saturday and I look at the advanced forecast. It's going to be 50 here when I'm gone.
That was always the thing. If
I'm
you
going to
were
be on
always
the
on
beach and you guys are
vacation,
going to have me, I'm only going to have you by 30 degrees, not 80 degrees. What
Yeah.
the
How
hell?
about that?
people always get salty when they go on a trip and it's not
Hey.
devastating for the people they left behind.
Brewers pitchers and catchers report tomorrow, and they'll have days like, that are kind of sketch, but it'll generally be pretty blissful. And the highlight of every, the first pitch and all this stuff, they don't really have flyovers in spring training games, but you have the first pitch and everything. And then the highlight was always, after the first pitch, they would say game time temperature, 85 degrees, temperature in Milwaukee, 22.
Just so rude.
And it would just be the loudest pop of the day.
Yep.
That was it.
It was always my favorite part of Mikey Cactus League, Mike Heller's reports while he would be down in Phoenix for the majority of spring training would be, it's only 63 degrees.
Yeah, only.
Well, I do have a quarter zip and a long sleeve bolo. I'm like, I think we'll all be okay. I think we'll muddle through. However, you've done some of those Cactus League mornings, Drew, where all of a sudden, there's a little bit of a brisk air there while those boys are walking in and getting their reps in cage number 3.
You got to show the Wisconsin plates. You got to be Scotty strong, and you got to wear the shorts and a quarter zip, and then you're good, or maybe even a hoodie or something. And then, because invariably, I often thought, I never did, but when you read the Brookstone catalogs, remember in the plains and stuff like that, the pants that had the zipper shorts that you could zipper off the shorts. Like
those were bad.
Those hiking pants.
For spring training.
You can take the bottom off and zipper. I'm like, I should invest in those because you want to wear pants early in the morning, so it's not chilly.
I remember.
And then you're going to go to shorts.
Yeah.
Like I always wanted to pull off the sweats with the snaps.
Then you realize at the scorer's table.
Yeah, then you realize they're a bigger pain in the ass.
Yeah.
They don't really wear those anymore.
Yeah, see, I thought the zip ones were way better because they were way easier to put back together as pants.
Exactly.
And maybe it's just my ball kid days. I was too scarred by the button down all the way through.
Yeah, but the tearaways are still in one piece. I mean, when I would zip, you mean some of the ones that would zip all the way off the shorts that would go from pants to shorts?
You just zip the leg. It would zip around the thigh.
Yeah, zip around the thigh or
zip around the thigh.
I think we're thinking of different pants then.
No, but
we don't know what kind of 50 Shades pants you're talking about here that are zipping off.
Man, he's talking about you had to reassemble them and snap them up, and it was that's a pain in the ass.
Back up and make sure you have the two here. And then
for home use, there's in what other than what universe other than going to the scorer's table and looking cool, flipping those snaps off. Well, there's no utility.
There's no functionality. And Drew, let me, while we're on this, selling baby clothes made with buttons. What the hell are we doing?
I'm with you, Billy.
It's the tearaway version of what you're saying, but it's right over my man's legs, right? And right into the nether regions where I'm going to have to go back and obviously where the blowout's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Where the blowout's going to be. What's the number one thing you need where the blowout is going to be, Drew?
You need access. You need
but you need it all to be controlled.
Yeah.
Controlled chaos. Control what we can control.
Borders.
Instead, there's just holes everywhere.
Really strong borders.
It's just buttons all over there. There's holes everywhere. It's leaking off, and I'm moving over there, and all this is my hand. I'm like, what did I wipe with was this with a towel, or was this with my hand? It's like,
then you gotta go wash.
Lock it up.
Yes.
Make sure baby doesn't run. It's one thing at 3 and 4 and 5 months. But when we get to that 6, 7, 8 month and they're moving around, they're starting to wrestle with you. I'm like,
and it's WrestleMania every diaper change. Thank you.
I'm not figuring out 45 buttons, and how to do this. Give me snaps or give me magnets, or I don't even want to deal with it.
Snaps.
I mean, I'm not putting little mini babushkas. I mean, I like a onesie. You tuck it in, it's easy. But everyone, Laura wants the skirts and stockings and babushkas. I'm like, what are we doing here? This is not functional.
Yeah, that is
not
rough.
functional.
I will grant you. All right, so it's buy or sell Tuesday. Hit us 877-794-1973. Buy or sell Tuesday. I've been holstering this one up for you guys just for today.
Come on, baby.
This is where a lot of recency bias is going to come in. You buying or selling that recency bias aside? Try to put what happened this Sunday out of your mind. Buying or selling that Matt LaFleur is a better NFL coach than Mike Vrabel.
Ooh, that's a good
They've
one.
both been in the league for 7 years.
Let me jump in that pool for a second and think about it. That is a good one. Really, really good. It depends how good you think the job
recency
is in
bias. Well,
Tennessee.
one guy's been to a Super Bowl and one guy hasn't. Case closed. All right.
Not necessarily sure it is, but
Well, I agree with you,
But I
Billy.
mean, a lot of people would say that. That's the reason.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's been to a Super Bowl and
that's
he
why I'm
hasn't.
hesitating.
A lot of people reason like third graders.
Regular season record in 7 years, Mike Vrabel 54-45, a winning percentage of 586. Matt LaFleur 76-40-1, a 654 winning.
All right, Matt
percentage.
LaFleur definitely wins more, but you can argue then his career is also buoyed by the likes of an Aaron Rodgers, right? In those years.
Okay.
Right?
and not Will Levis and Ryan Tannehill.
fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then, okay, but didn't he, I think Vrabel that year they went to the championship game, didn't it? Weren't they with like a 9-7 outfit that year?
They were the 6th seed.
Yeah,
they were
a
the 6th seed, 9-7, got hot at the right
9-7.
time, rolled to the title game.
And then he was one and done in his other playoff appearances in
When they were the
Tennessee.
number one seed. When they were the number one
Tennessee.
seed and the Packers were also the number one seed. So
So yeah,
this is fun.
I mean, you'll get a
Vrabel's
lot of
season's like-
fans saying Vrabel for sure.
LaFleur came out of the gate 13-3. And Vrabel, and it's all, he inherited a Hall of Fame quarterback, granted. But Vrabel was 9-7, 9-7, 11-5, 12-5, and then 7-10 and 6-11 got him booted out of Tennessee. And then he goes to New England and he's 14-3 with a bunch of a shocking overachievement and turnaround. So I'm just asking, you buying or selling that Matt LaFleur is a better NFL coach than Mike Vrabel?
Dreamy Troy, LTJ, all saying Vrabel for sure. Because Vrabel's the type of coach that football fans like the way he makes them feel.
Well,
Is
I
that
also
fair?
think it's a tough one because I'd put a couple of let me harmonize it here real quick.
Please do.
The head coach is a key part of this because I think Vrabel, as the full leader and CEO of the organization, I do believe would be better.
Good.
However, Matt has one thing that Vrabel doesn't. Vrabel was never a play caller, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really believe he ever called defensive plays. Like even when he was in Houston before he got the Titans job, I believe he was linebackers and run game coordinator. Now, I could be wrong. Now maybe he did call defensive plays. Now he doesn't. And now he has not called plays for a long time. But you just saw somebody on the defensive side go against him, and McDonald's one of the first defensive play calling head coaches to ever win the Super Bowl. Most defensive coaches like Vrabel, like Mike Tomlin when he got the job, like Brian Flores when he was a head coach, said, I'm going to let somebody else call the defense, Jonathan Gannon, who the Packers just brought in. I'm going to let somebody else call the defense, and I'm going to be the CEO. So I think Vrabel's better in that regard because we've never seen LaFleur do it. But I also think LaFleur is far and away more valuable as an offensive play calling head coach. So I would not want Matt to not have play calling duties because I think him calling plays is one of the biggest reasons why he's a top 10 or 12 coach in football.
He was
And
a D coordinator 1 year in Houston in 2017. Before that was linebackers coach. But you're right, Billy. The offense is
and for those
better.
who've forgotten, in Mike Vrabel's first year in Tennessee, who was his offensive coordinator?
Mm-hmm.
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Right. 9-7 with the Marcus Mariota and the injury and stuff. So.
27th ranked offense, but worked out to get in the interviews process too.
Indeed.
Yep.
Indeed. So they were 9-7 that year when they overlapped.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a question that
That's
came
a
up
good one, Drew.
because I'm thinking they've both
like
coached
that.
now because Vrabel had the gap year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've both coached 7 years, and LaFleur clearly has the better record. But it's vibes, man. It's vibes, and it's
That's
just
it for a lot
one
of
guy's
people.
been, and all it is for many, it's case closed. He's been to a Super Bowl. He won a championship, and so Vrabel is 1-1 in championship games, and LaFleur is 0-2.
0-2. However, I look at both of them, and I think both of them are better coaches than Nick Sirianni. Neither of them have won a championship.
That's a good point.
Sirianni does have
That's a
one and
good
went
point.
to another one.
That's
and
like
I still think he's an overgrown cheerleader on the sideline.
that's like me
So
saying
I struggle to see and fully equate all of the value and where it's just case closed. Well, but there's a ring on his finger, so he's definitely better.
that's the old to make that?
That's a fun question.
Well, that's like saying, intellectually, I would rather have Josh Allen or Lamar Johnson as my quarterback than Sam Darnold. Yet Sam Darnold's got a Super Bowl and they don't.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then also, Ryan Clark was getting fried yesterday on the super sweet Disney set that they had, where he's like, yeah, I'm looking through the NFC and I take 9 quarterbacks over Sam Darnold. Like, how dare you? How dare you? Well, he's both guys, him and or whether whoever it was, the 2 guys that went through it, and Dan Orlovsky was apoplectic on both. both guys had Jordan Love into the conversation. Now, some would I put Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold? Well, Kyle Shanahan started Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold and decided that they were going to pay him. Yeah. He had the choice. He had him in his building, right? You're not taking anybody in the conference over Matthew Stafford.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Nobody really even put Jalen Hurts above him, and Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl and was Super Bowl MVP when he did it. So, like, you start stacking it up, and I mean, there was a lot of love for Caleb Williams into the conversation. There was a lot of love for other guys into the mix that you just, it can't be as clean cut as you won it, so it's over. But the Hawks defense, the Seattle Seahawks did win the Super Bowl, and their general manager, I don't know, was executive of the year. That one, I would say, clean cut, John Schneider, that might just be renamed the John Schneider Award over the next couple of years.
And we're going to put McDonald
by the way,
in all this too.
That dovetails into the next one. Is John Schneider now a Hall of Famer?
I think he is.
In the founders category?
I think he is.
In the GM category?
I mean, I think so. Don't you?
I don't think anybody's a Hall of Famer after
Belichick,
Kraft, and Mike Shanahan is Shanahan is still not a Hall of Famer. Damn near half the league came off of his tree.
That's absurd.
And they gave his son the tree when his son was only in the league and calling plays because his dad had the job.
Now I'm with you on that. I heard Gronk saying that Andy Reid can't go in first ballot now. He said he can't go in first ballot. If Belichick's not first ballot, nobody is. Now the gatekeepers are going to be starting here in football. The way you don't like the baseball gatekeepers starting.
Now I don't know. Now I don't know.
And baseball Hall of Fame voters in the 80s are paying for the sins of people who didn't make Babe Ruth unanimous.
Yeah, and that's why there was some brave soul wasn't going to vote for Jeter because he was going to uphold the honor and integrity of the Hall of Fame, right, Billy?
Yeah,
Billy hates that. Sheila in Milwaukee, I'm selling the Vrabel as a better coach. Keeping LaFleur, our time is coming for extended postseason. Let's go, Sheila. I like that. All right, I like her energy on that one.
Are you buying or selling that the Patriots next season will experience more regression to the mean, my favorite sports phrase, than the Chicago Bears?
I had a good feeling that was going to be the pairing.
More? I don't know. I mean, that's a tough question. Who will experience more regression? Like, who's going to have a better record, basically?
Who's going to have the tougher? They're both going to get the first place schedule, which is different. They're both going to get, and just the Bears again. When you win, 6-7 games in the last 2 minutes, that isn't sustainable.
Again,
not sustainable.
Not sustainable. Super harmonizing of the question. I think the Bears might be eye test a better football team, but I think the Patriots will have a better record. Right? Like, I think the AFC is worse. I think the Bears play in a far better division. But I also think the Pats have a bunch of money still to spend in the offseason, and the Bears don't. Like, they got some tough questions to answer.
The Bears had, in so many ways, they had just the inside straight, right? True. They had, their entire line stayed healthy all year, which hardly ever happens. Look at Zach Tom and Elton Jenkins are playing. How much different is the Packers?
Oh, yeah.
The path of the Packers season, even without Micah Parsons, right? It's like
very much so.
It's a different.
But
they run the ball better and everything changes.
But I also looked at the game on Sunday night. Now, maybe this was also with my Patriots plus 11.5 and trying to figure out how on earth they were going to score 2 touchdowns late.
They almost did.
It almost made me feel like at most positions, Drew, I would have taken the Bears position group over the Patriots. Like, outside of quarterback. I would have taken all of the Bears running backs over the Patriots running backs. I would have taken the Bears offensive line 10 times out of 10 over that Pats offensive line. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, all those wide receivers, Burden and company.
Yeah,
I know Diggs was good, but I'm taking them over Booty and Pop Douglas.
And they had an inside straight too of a schedule. I mean, the Patriots did too. So that's why it might surprise you to say this. And I'd like to know how much Drake May was really hurt. That's something we might not know because he didn't look good for the last month, but he was also supposedly hurt.
Yeah,
I tend to think the Bears are going to win more just because of Caleb. I mean, Caleb can do more special explode.
How much did that hurt?
Just hold on.
They both run,
he can do more special explosive. Drake can do these special explosive things. He's got the receivers.
I think in the headspace, Caleb's got more wind in his sails going into next season because Drake May is going to be seeing ghosts all summer long.
I agree. I guess we'll never know
We'll
how
see.
healthy he was.
Yeah, one's going to watch
We'll
the
see.
ghosts of the Super Bowl, and the other one's going to only see his highlight tape.
He's going to see his pass against the Packers.
Yeah.
Well, and Sam Darnold now is the hope for all future ghost seers.
Absolutely.
For all future
right,
beings, the guys that believe in haunted stuff.
Buy or sell Tuesday, some good ones. You want to weigh in 877-794-1973. Halftime's already here. We're going to talk to Dolph, and then we're going to talk to Matt Miller, and then Hunter Baumgart, and Stan Van Gundy. It's a Power Pack Tuesday. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
Thank you.
It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin halftime. We welcome our halftime correspondent, Scott Dolphin from the country station down the hall. Olympics here in full swing. Are you an Olympics guy? Are you glued to it? What's your favorite Olympic sport to watch?
I've always enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I'm glued to it. And of course, we were on Boots on the Beach last week, so I was out of the country. Didn't see any of it. Last night was the first night I really sat down and tried to focus. My favorite sport, I mean, I love ski jumping. My God, those guys are crazy.
Yeah, but now you got freestyle skiing, you got ski air, there's all kinds of different things now. But
Snowboarding.
You're talking about the old school straight ski jump where they're catching air and all that stuff.
Yeah, where the
All
Norwegians rule,
right.
right?
I'm telling you, we're getting our butts beat in by the Norwegians and the Dutch in all these events.
Well, I mean, Winter Olympics, I don't think, have we ever in the history of the Olympics ever won the medal count when it comes to the Winter Olympics?
I'd have to check that out, but I think there were some years we're in the mix, right?
Maybe in Squaw Valley in 1960.
Yeah, good reference.
It's probably been a while. But last night, I really tried to focus, but just couldn't get into it. It was downhill, but I didn't see any, U.S. skiers when I was watching. So I was going back to the Bucks game, but I tried. Now the curling kind of fascinated me. I didn't realize there was mixed doubles curling. I mean, as we were talking off air, it takes me back to my mixed doubles bowling Saturday night leagues with my wife. I mean, it
right
really,
over at Burnham Bowl or an AMF.
we were at Bayview Bowl.
Bayview Bowl. All right.
And then we were Lucky Lanes at 50th and Howard.
Is there a longer season in sports than league bowling in Wisconsin?
No.
Like, what is it, 45 weeks?
Dude, it's professional wrestling and Wisconsin Tavern League bowling are the two that never stop. There's about 4 or 5 weeks when the couple of guys that are already retired from the factory, right around now, they go to Florida, so we can't start without Larry because he's been the commissioner of the league for a long time. So you do have to take that little snowbird season, but it is a tradition unlike any other.
It's a Labor Day to Memorial Day, pretty much, isn't it? Bowling
Pretty
in
much.
Wisconsin.
Oh, they're playing all through summer. Come on, it's like baseball now and travel ball because you got to have fall ball. You can't be missing out on those 6 weeks.
I had this conversation with my friends. They were serious bowlers, but they said drinking alone, you almost have to take out a second mortgage with the amount of beer you drink over those 9 months
That's true.
in bowling leagues.
That's how the lanes make all that. That's why you get
how you make
shoes
the
for
cash,
$1 and then 15 beers.
It was the funniest thing is for somebody that got as much entertainment out of bowling alleys and despises the sport like I do. It's a very, very strange conundrum because I used to go with my pops to bowling 2 or 3 nights a week. Right. And that was always the best time.
Oh, you're getting pizza.
3 or 4 games, arcade. They're all going to have beers. And then at some point I'm going to get a soda. And then everyone's going to have 2 or 3 beers and forget that I already had my soda. I'm going to get a second soda. I'm going to get a second soda by about 7:30.
Yes.
There's no way that this is going to get better before we go home. So I had so much time spent in a bowling alley, but man, do I suck at the game.
Yeah.
I couldn't be worse. I could not be worse.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big deal in Iowa growing up like it is here. I mean, when I moved to Milwaukee, they're like, oh, you got to take a bowling.
Yeah, figure it out.
I mean, this is kind of one of the heartbeats of the PBA, right? Over the years, guys have come from here and become big stars. And it's not uncommon when we go have wings at Classic Lanes in Oak Creek on a Thursday night, somebody's rolling a 300 in there.
Oh, for sure.
Classic Lanes I know about on Layton, so I don't know what.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's the where we used to go walk to at Greenfield High School for the bowling part of our gym class. We love that.
Sure,
you could just get out, walk on Layton, walk across the street.
Surprised you didn't have a bowling alley in your high school.
Oh, dude, we had bowling. We had bowling in class. We had bowling in PE though. Mm-hmm. We'd fire up the big old rubber balls throughout. The big old plastic pins.
I remember those.
That was a good 2 or 3 week period.
The carpets,
which is tougher athletically, bowling or golf.
Oh, golf.
Because of the walking.
For me, it's just I ride in a cart and smoke cigars and drink. But the problem with golf is I've been playing golf since I was in 6th grade regularly, and I still am not good. I've bowled like 18 times in my life, and I occasionally would roll a close to 200. 195.
Sports that now they encourage. And sometimes performance enhancing, smoking and drinking while comporting yourself. When
I get better with aiming fluid, it's a tough one for me to say is super competitive.
Couple pops,
Yeah, I mean, so here's my group. If we show up at the golf course, and we do mostly Milwaukee County courses on a Thursday night. If we show up and there's no carts allowed because it rained that day, See ya.
See ya.
Let's go
Kinda
grab a
guys.
We're
sandwich
doing
and go
something
somewhere
else.
else.
Yeah.
This is my kind of crew because that is that's one that I'm just not going to be able to do. I'm going out there to enjoy exactly what Dolph said, the drinking and the smoking of cigars. And if we're not going to be able to do both, because I can't do both if I'm trying to walk this thing, I'm going to have to change it up. The bowling alley, though, you want to talk about smoking and drinking, I wonder how many folks got better and or worse when the smoking ban came in inside of bowling alleys, because that was probably a competitive advantage or disadvantage for certain folks.
That's a great point. That's been like 15 years now.
Not be able to take a quick drag right after before you go and try to pick up that 8-10 spare that you have sitting out there. That's a tough one to be able to miss.
You'd have that marine layer of smoke just above the lanes.
You start bowling after class Thursday in college because Marquette has like a bowling alley in their little annex on campus.
Yeah, I've been there. That's a nice little.
And it was $1 a game, so we bowl every week. And I was starting to get better and better. I was still in the hundreds, but my buddies would try and do the roll, the curve, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And one time, I bowled a 224. I'll never forget it.
Oh.
And I never got close to 200 ever again. I printed that thing out. They had to print it out for me. I went to the desk and asked them, but it worked out because my buddies
I was
working
just
the
going to
front
say,
desk.
how bad do you wish you had an iPhone or your
my
Samsung
gosh.
to be able to take a picture
Printed
of that?
it out. I was so proud of myself. All right, I did the research. By the way, I went through every year. We only won the medal table in the Winter Olympics, total medals, in 1932. That was at Lake Placid, as well as 1980. 1932 and 2010 in Vancouver.
We did win in
We
2010.
did win the total medals, not most golds, but total medals. So if you had that in your bingo card, and Norway wins a lot of years. So.
When I said win, I think medals.
Total
for
or
the
golds?
That's what
Sorry.
So I was going to ask the Olympic aficionado here, which one's more important? Because I think you just win the most medals, but winning the most events is winning the most gold medals.
Yeah, there's ring culture. We're Americans. We want golds.
Okay.
We want to be number one.
All right, good. I like that. I like that.
You can flood every event with people and get a bunch of medals.
I like this. We're not trying to get a bunch of singles.
No, I mean, listen.
We're going for slugging percentage and gold medals. All right, then we're only one back.
There's like 5 straight Olympics where the Soviets dominated both, back in their, Soviet machine days.
Yeah, back when they had 60 countries.
You think they're cool? You think they're cool with silvers? They'd throw silvers away. They'd throw silvers away back in the day. You better win gold back in the day.
Harmon's the strength and conditioning coach. That's like,
Speaking.
hey, you know what they're doing over there?
Soviet
You know what they're
machine.
doing at Eisenhower?
That's
You know
right.
what they're doing at Soviets? They're throwing that silver medal
They don't
away.
care
We're
about
going
that.
for a gold here.
Is it wrong that I haven't watched more than 10 minutes of the Olympics so far? And I don't know how much bandwidth you have, right?
Okay.
It's just like,
Got me by 8 minutes.
and then it's like, if I'm at home, it's like, I'm going to watch something while making dinner. Am I going to have the Olympics on, or will I watch the Miracle on Ice doc on Netflix, which I haven't seen.
I
yet.
haven't either, but I hear it's incredible.
Well, I would rather watch that than watch the live
That looks amazing.
bobsledding.
What about today? USA versus Canada women's hockey at 1 o'clock.
That's a
this
big one.
afternoon.
That's a big
Marquee.
one.
That's
Yeah.
the one to watch.
25-23 all time in favor of the Canucks.
We got to get
and
that
we got some
dub.
Badger representation on
Oh,
there.
We
Yeah.
do, and well, somebody scored a goal yesterday in their win over Switzerland, Wisconsin hockey players. So yeah, well represented on Team USA, and probably might be 1 or 2 on Team Canada. There usually is.
Yeah.
See, now
always,
that's the tough thing is, Drew, like I'm with you. I think I've maybe watched 10 minutes and probably 8 of it was spent watching, as bad as it sounds, Lindsey Vaughn's video. Like you start to see, I watch the sports that I watch. Right. So like when the Summer Olympics come, the most that I'll end up watching is Team USA play basketball. Or like this one, I feel like I'll probably watch the men's and women's hockey team, where I should be watching curling. I should be watching more figure skating and speed skating, but
I mean,
I'll probably watch the ones that I
you guys
watch, and I'll probably watch
backflip on
these games.
skates. It'll never not be impressive.
It's impressive, no doubt.
I mean, I'm watching these cats fly through the air in here right now on whatever's running. My God, that's ridiculous.
But you know what? With these, they're doing tricks and stuff, and I don't know what's supposed to be good and not. They all look impressive to me. So then they judge it differently, and I'm like, I don't know that. I would like to see like a race, like so I know who the winner and loser is visually. You know?
Summer Olympics,
Amen.
I love watching the track, the sprinters. That's always fun.
Yeah.
That's
but
the best. Yeah.
winter intrigues me because it's sports you never see ever.
Mhm.
They're skating through they're skiing through the woods, and then they stop and fire off a couple rounds.
That's
Biathlon. Yeah.
And then on they go. I mean, that's
what
just
a
stuff you
total
never
game
see.
changer.
Combining stuff that everyone does, right? Is the cross.
It's like Wisconsin deer hunting.
Grab a
Yeah.
rifle, fire this thing out. All right, now we got to skin it, be able to figure it out.
let's
We
have
got to cook it for dinner.
let's strap up the Birkebeiner racers.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Birkebeiner. Yeah, everybody's strapped. Everybody's
I'm
got
just
the-
waiting for them to do a poker run on one
Rifle.
of these events. I mean, you tell me you can hit 6 taverns in 12 hours. And now that would be a sport. That's a competitive
That would be
one. Cross
amazing.
200 miles. Good luck.
Wait till short track starts though. Then when you do short track relays and there's like all the people in the middle of the short track and all the guys on the outside and they're all tagging in and out, it looks like complete chaos. I love that one. That's a good one.
So whatever's on right now, Armin, these dudes have like just regular sweatpants on. They're flapping in the wind. So clearly there's strategy to that, right? So they have to catch air, so they have baggy pants on.
Snow pants aren't.
Look at them flap. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah. That's the wind drag, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
I feel like in this sport, it's more important to look cool than worry about aerodynamics, right? So they're probably trying to look cool too with their pants.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm sure Norway's going to win again.
I don't know. Sebastian looked pretty damn cool going down that hill, dude.
This is not big. What do they call this event? It's like I don't know.
We were asking you.
No.
Yeah,
but I did see, Armin, to your point, like there was a snowboarding race down the hill.
That's
Appreciate that. Let me know who wins.
Yeah.
Because I can figure that one out pretty clearly. And Dolph, I don't know if you ever did. Now coming in Iowa, are snow sports, skiing or snowboarding that big? Did you ever have a time when you tried to grab the burden?
Yes. So I grew up outside Dubuque, so we had the Sundown ski hill in Dubuque because it's the Mississippi River Valley, so big old hills over there. So yeah, we would go field trips to ski. I could do it. I wasn't great at it. It was mostly Bunny Hill. One time by mistake, I got on the Black Diamond one, and that was horrifying. I still have nightmares about
the
that.
Crystal Ridge moment for me. I
was going to say, Dolph just explained a Crystal Ridge moment that I had on that Play It Again Sports.
Oh my gosh.
Snowboard that I bought there in 5th grade.
That was it.
Could only turn one way. It was a dangerous way.
People die on snowboards.
Bad way.
Not me. I'm not
snowboarding. My thing is, how can they have that when they test for weed? Because everybody I know that's into snowboarding is 420 friendly. So we're not getting the best athletes and we're not getting the best competitors. They can't.
And the other thing is like moguls, right? How do you not get a headache? It gives me a headache watching moguls.
I know.
Drew just answered it.
Yeah, that's it right there.
There you go.
Use promo code Huddle because you'll get 25% off and free shipping.
Your happy place, hemp of the day, right there.
Hemp.com.
That's your wake and bake.
Hey, Dolph, thanks for dropping by and filling our halftime. We've made our adjustments. On to the second half. Matt Miller, a man about film, joins us next. The Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Continuing the huddle, Fox Sports Radio Wisconsin. This portion of the program brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Check them out. If you're feeling sluggish, you're sinking into the couch at night and not making a recovery, you don't rally like you used to, you're not taking advantage of weekends and time with the family, had a mental fog, trouble sleeping, weight gain, could be a hormonal issue, go for that free evaluation, GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Visit a clinic near you. Sign up totally free. Walk in. Very cool people. I'll be Brookfield office again this week. Check out our friends at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. We welcome to the program a man about film, our pal Matt Miller. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
Friendos, thank you for having me.
All right, we've been sifting through. Bad Bunny drew a record audience. Some folks enjoyed the stylings of Kid Rock and the alternative show. In totality, what did you think of Super Bowl Sunday?
I gotta say, I think that's one of the worst Super Bowls I've been alive for. Kind of across the board, right? I mean, the game
we've been spoiled.
The game was pretty putrid. It lived down to my expectations for a Drake May, Sam Darnold Super Bowl matchup. And then I think I'm done with the Super Bowl being an ad showcase at this point. I think it's been on life support for a few years now. I think the idea of it is more reputation than reality, because you watch the game and other than the Brad Pitt Netflix Cliff Booth movie, nothing really stood out. Nothing really had a moment. And I'm not just saying the Brad Pitt Cliff Booth movie because I'm a movie guy, because of course the movie guy picks a movie trailer as his favorite Super Bowl commercial, but that was one of the only Super Bowl ads that came out as a surprise. That in the moment you saw on screen and you were like, whoa, I got to stop talking and see what's going on the screen. Whereas every other Super Bowl ad now has been tread out a week beforehand, is in probably a shortened, crappier version than the actual longer version of the ad. And it probably looks like crap because it's probably bad CG or AI, or they didn't film the commercial with any of the celebrities actually being in the same room together, and it looks like it. I think we got to just hit the reset. We got to unplug these Super Bowl ads and give them a timeout for like a year.
Here you go. This is an analogy.
Pull it out, blow in the cartridge, Billy, and put it back into the N64.
I got one for you, Billy. This is like a wake and bake analogy, though. Have Super Bowl commercials, has it come to the point of like the NBA dunk contest? We've run out of things to do and be creative, and it's like, you know, it's like it's only humanly possible to do so many things, and it's like we're tapped out on it for a while. Like, you're right, put it in timeout.
I think that's a really good analogy, because this feels like the Dwight Howard putting on a super band cape, like Blake Griffin jumping over the hood of a Kia.
Yeah,
we're in the like gimmick era. We're in the like, oh, we're not doing anything fun or interesting right now. I mean, even the good commercials, like the Guy Fieri Bosch commercial, was one that I thought was good because I thought it was a fun premise. I thought it actually did a good job of being like, hey, Bosch also makes power tools, which is something literally the person next to me was like, I had no idea they did that. And I was like, congratulations, Bosch. There you go. Yeah. But it wasn't as funny as you wanted it to be. And it looked bad. Like, it looked like a crummy, cheap ad because they clearly didn't film it on like an actual set. So it's just stuff like that. I'm done. I'm done with Super Bowl ads for a while, I think.
How much does a spot like Goodwill Dunkin' with all those celebrities? You mentioned the other thing as we say hi to I love this one. Which cat is this?
Close to the heart.
Which one? Zelda. And
Zelda. Hi, Zelda. I love that name. That's a great name.
She's not supposed to be here.
What?
And she is fighting me.
It seemed like throwing money at celebrities was the idea for the last 5 to 10 years. And that's still going on. I mean, but the funniest, in my opinion, the funniest and most amazing commercial of our youth didn't have celebrities. It was just the creativity of the spot.
Yeah, I that's always so frustrating to me. They have these commercials where they clearly spent a lot of money to get all these celebrities together and spent no money giving them anything funny or interesting to say. Mm-hmm. And I think that Goodwill Dunkin' ad is a really good example of how little thought goes into the actual ad itself. Because like, what was the concept of that ad is so convoluted and confusing that like, oh, before they made Goodwill Hunting, it was actually a Dunkin' themed 90s sitcom starring other 90s sitcom stars. And also Tom Brady is there, who was not popular in the 90s.
Right.
And like, if I'm thinking this hard about the concept of your ad, you screwed up. Like you've really messed up your bit. And then there's like a 2.5 minute long full version that is literally just extra theme song. It's
You see, which I like it.
just
But
a total waste.
you're right. You're right
Armin
about
liked
it.
'cause
Creativity.
the millennial
Glass just
thing.
broke right into Armin's
I mean,
head.
it had Giuliani and George and Ted Danson. See, it just now you're right about everything you said.
Had all the guys.
I did like that part of it.
The
You
Ted
know?
Danson part's funny because anything making fun of Ben Affleck is just it's always fine by me.
That's true. It's just, I don't know, man. We're just, how do we scratch that millennial need for nostalgia and,
That was it.
ecto coolers and,
They had the
bomb pops.
Clydesdales. I felt good.
Bomb
Part of me
pops.
wonders if we're
Back to
ever
boy.
going to get back to the way we felt about the Super Bowl ads before, because partly, we all know so much more about the ad industry. We are all, even if you aren't like a media or entertainment guy, you know so much more about what goes into making these ads and the thought process behind them. We all have watched Mad Men at this point. And then, the industry around Super Bowl ads is such that these companies desperately want to be out in front for the week before the Super Bowl because they want to be in the articles talking about, the Super Bowl ads. And, like that is the game now. That is the part that people want to be involved in. The game itself is kind of an afterthought. It's kind of like how they release Christmas movies in November, how like the hottest time for Hallmark movies is Thanksgiving, because they want people watching that stuff when people are getting excited for Christmas. And then when Christmas comes around, it's like, besides the fact, Hallmark barely has new Christmas movies on Christmas itself, because they're like, you've moved on from Christmas by the time Christmas rolls around. And that's how Super Bowl ads feel, where it's like a week beforehand is the excitement. And then the Super Bowl rolls around and you're like, yeah, Jurassic Park Infinity. I saw this a week ago. It stinks.
Yeah, where was that good punchline that I saw in the minute 45 one that I saw online? The best part they cut out.
And then the ad's like, watch the full ad online. And I'm like, I'm absolutely not going to do that. I watched an ad to watch another ad. This is the dumbest.
There's only been one ad that I've done that for, and everybody my age knows they went to GoDaddy.com.
Yeah.
Matt, the other one that I was wondering about, and which I didn't realize, and you hit it on the head, and I thought it was more of just because I was a football guy. So of course I watched the one that was football dudes. You hit it that we all know so much. The only one that resonated with me was I still didn't know that it was a blood test. I thought like you still had to get the actual test on the prostate one where they had the NFL coaches and everything. But if there's something we don't know, we've already almost looked it up. It does feel like there's a tough reboot that you have to have in it. The creativity is one part that I was thinking about. And I got kind of shamed by some of the artistic friends that I had when I brought up, because I thought the vibe of the halftime show was nuts. Like, there was also some pretty impressive viewing in the first, 2.5 minutes. I wasn't taking my eyes off the front of the screen. I don't know where exactly we were singing. But I struggled with, in 2025, 2026, in the world that we have Squid Games that dominated so much, how did we not have subtitles so I knew what he was saying? Because in the world, I thought that would have, because it was so cinematic. It was a story. But I feel like I was left out, and they know the song. They know where it was going. I feel like that was the miss, but I was told, well, then you're just not appreciating the art. And if you watch Squid Game with the subtitles on, you're a jerk because you didn't watch all of the full method acting. What did I miss there? Or was I just being too 2026?
No, I think that's actually a really good point. I think the production could have maybe kind of met halfway, being like, let's put some subtitles on this thing. Audiences are more and more used to watching things with subtitles now, even English
Especially
language
parents.
stuff. People like having subtitles on.
I do it all the time now, because especially with reality TV, you can't hear what they're saying.
Never hear what they're saying.
Yeah, I've read articles that the audio mix is designed that way. It's a very weird thing that audio is so much worse now in a lot of these movies and TV shows, especially the ones made for streaming. But yeah, I think that could have maybe hedged off some of the complaints people had of I didn't understand the songs, and it's I don't know, he makes dance music. And I mean the Macarena was the world's biggest song 27
you.
years ago.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you any lyrics, what they mean in that song besides
Yeah.
Macarena.
Richie Valens and La Bamba.
Yeah.
Big hit.
Right?
That's
Like,
another really good one. Yeah.
That's another
Gangnam
hit.
Style was only like 15 or years or so.
I listen to Lil
Hey,
Yachty.
sexy
You can tell me I
lady.
don't know a whole lot of words that Lil Yachty's ever saying.
I
in a
never
whole
knew
song
any
either.
Nirvana lyric when I was a kid. I just wanted to be cool. And I was
Right?
just,
Ariana
my hair walks
Grande.
like
What was the last
pimples.
time I understood an Ariana Grande lyric? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. This idea that I needed to understand the songs at a dance party halftime show was
That's
kind of
true. But
confusing to me.
What about Matt? The idea that this was created for the TV audience, not for the audience in stadium, and that's the shift now. And I don't know how it watched it, but it was clearly very, like you said, cinematography.
Yeah.
And the story and the visuals in the stadium. You're like, oh, okay, those people trees. Like the stadium. The highlight is watching them make assemble the stage and pull this thing off in 12 minutes, right?
I do
but it's like,
wonder if the audience at the Super Bowl felt like they were watching like signs or something like that, just looking at like a field of grass, being like, "There's something going on in there." It's definitely more for the TV audience at this point. I do think it was a really cool production. I really liked the show that he put on, which is what I want from a halftime show. I want to feel like I watched a production on the level of one of the biggest events of the year, and that's what I got. I thought it was a really just a fun time, and I think a halftime show can be exactly that, a really fun time.
How dare you just have fun?
And then despite the defections in the Kid Rock fans and all that, it was the most viewed halftime show ever, beating Kendrick's, right? And so go figure, the most streamed artist gets the most views. Like this is what the NFL wanted, and that's why he was there.
And like we talked about last week, for an industry that is always looking at going international and finding new audiences wherever they may be, this is exactly what the NFL wants. You know, they will always be hunting for. They could have audiences everywhere, and they'd be like, "We're playing a game in Antarctica this year." Well,
next year, just wait for that Australia game and Steve Irwin's kid Robert doing the halftime show.
Well,
that is going to be awesome. Him wrestling a crocodile on the 50-yard line.
Here's a thought that's going to make people maybe lose their breakfast. But hear that the warm and fuzzies of the 90s stuff that hit Armin in 10 years, is it going to be Alex Earl and Jack Doherty and Clavicular and these influencers on these spots?
Mr. Beast. It might be.
Beast. That was a miss. I mean, I can't. I weep for our culture.
That's what they said 20 years ago.
I know. It's every year that they always say that. Maybe it'll be just K-pop stuff. Matt Miller, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Friendos, thank you for having me.
All right. A Man About Film on the Substack and the X. Check him out. We'll be right back. It's The Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Dominating a Tuesday in the good land. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 in Madison, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app, YouTube, Facebook, and X streaming. And the voice you heard in our opening montage.
Come on now.
Our favorite, Hunter Baumgart, joins us live from the Fortress of Solitude. Good morning, Hunter. Welcome. His first appearance in the Huddle. We've been here almost a month. Where have you been?
About damn
Yeah,
time.
right? Oh, my gosh. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's the debut on the Huddle, other than my recorded voice that you just heard. But other
That's
than
true.
that,
You are on every hour with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do miss your smiling face because by the time you check in here at headquarters, we're
Fully
already
checked
out
out.
of here. We
Fully
just-
checked
Yeah,
out.
I miss you guys.
You see us, you see our tire tracks. That pull
Hunter,
out.
you could come hang out with us at 5 a.m. if you wanted. If you
Hey,
don't,
he's
we
gonna
miss
next
you
week.
too. Well,
Next
yeah,
week.
that's true.
Better believe it.
I'll
That's
be
true.
with you.
That's true. Yeah.
Early wake up. Just make sure don't worry about the Glazers because a lot of the quick trips might not be open when you drive on.
Oh, we
Inferno.
found that out. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I heard that. So I'm
That's
going to
true.
take your advice on that one.
Yes. All right. So Hunter, some Brewers news. It broke right after we got off the air yesterday. Not that we're salty about
That's
it.
how it happens, I guess.
I know.
But tell us what you thought of the trade, and then you took part in the conference call with Matt Arnold and Billy. By the way, Hunter today is our hero of the day, superhero of the day, for joining us and for covering the Brewers while we were done.
He's our superhero with Current Electric because we know a little bit of Brewer stuff, but our Hunter knows all the Brewers things. What Hunter still does not know, even though we would like him to, and he'll be multifaceted 5-tool player, is electrical issues. Luckily for all of us, the superheroes at Current Electric are there because a lot of companies want to have you just trust them right away. Current Electric wants you to allow them to earn your trust, whether it's a home or business that is in need of electrical services. Give Current Electric a chance to earn your trust and to earn your business. Go to callcurrent.com. That's callcurrent.com for more information. Current Electric, home of the superheroes, and our superhero of the day is Hunter Baumgart. And Hunter, in the midst of all of this, talking about the deal that goes down yesterday, there's always going to be like a centerpiece. There's going to be one player that everybody is going to maybe see first. And then there's somebody, when you're talking about this many guys, that maybe was the biggest piece of the trade for an acquiring team. While Harrison is the centerpiece, and it seems like they're going to shove Hamilton down our throats, that maybe he's going to be a factor for the Brewers coming up. It feels like the third piece and the other pitcher is the actual one that was the game changer as somebody that dominated AAA last year and kind of almost profiles it from just reading it in the Chad Patrick mold, where grew up and they feel like maybe unlocked a little something in the AAA level this close to the big leagues.
Right. I mean, Shane Drowan, 5-1 last year, 2.27 ERA at AAA. That's impressive numbers. I mean, those, when you look at what he did there, and it's another example of an older guy, 27 years old, 5 full minor league seasons. Like, he's been there, done that. But he has yet to make it a successful run here in the major league level. And the Brewers are so good at bringing these pitchers in and making them into the best versions of themselves. And we can go through, like you mentioned, Chad Patrick, Tobias Myers, Quinn Priester, and the list goes on. And what the Brewers have now done is stockpiled a long list of pitchers that they can do this with, that have both grown up in their system and grown up in other systems, and now can have a chance to work with Chris Hook and Jim Henderson and the pitching lab, so to speak, and be able to, definitely turn this thing into what you hope is, with Drowan, he's an interesting one. You mentioned Kyle Harrison there. I would give him a better shot to make the opening day roster. But I think with Drowan, I could kind of see him in that Ashby middle relief role, possibly. I know he's started most of his games in his career, but I feel like this is a guy who you could throw in the bullpen, and he could be really effective. I mean, you're not going to have a 10-man rotation. So at the end of the day, some of these guys in this long list of pitchers that the Brewers now have are going to have to be in that starting or in that bullpen. So I have a feeling that Drowan might be destined for that. It might not be on opening day, but at some point, possibly during the season.
It's so funny the way the game is now. It's like he's not in the rotation, but he's going to give us 6 innings a week, which is what we hope to get out of the guys in our rotation.
It's like the weather in Wisconsin. Wait 3 weeks. It might change for you.
I mean, those guys that the Ashby, like those DL Hall, the guys that give you 2 1/3 or 2, and then they come back 3 days later and give you another 2. Like that's where it's at, man. That's kind of that's where teams are starting to feast.
Outgetting,
a little bit.
yeah.
Outgetting. Hunter, how did it spin, and what did Matt Arnold say when you guys asked him yesterday? pitchers and catchers report this week. Do you know who your third baseman is?
That's the big thing. Like what that is the big question after this trade. My first reaction was it's not a typical Brewers trade. They typically don't trade a guy after his first year in the big leagues with that many years of control left, 6 years of control left of Caleb Durbin. That's not usually what the Brewers do. But what Matt Arnold continued to say, and you'll hear it here as he talks about the infield depth, is really talking about we like our depth not only at the major league level, but the minor league level and for the future as well. So this is what Matt Arnold had to say about the infield depth in the whole organization.
You talk about a lot of the infield depth that we have here. It's, the on top of Jet Williams and Hamilton here, you also have Bryce Terang and Joey Ortiz in the mix. We really like the defense here for sure on our infield. But you also start looking at the future here with guys like Jesus Made and Cooper Pratt and Luke Adams and Luis Pena and Andrew Fisher. I mean, there's just a lot of these types of guys coming. We feel like in our system that can absolutely handle the left side of the diamond that have really high upsides. And so we feel like we have the ingredients now, to weather the loss of somebody like Caleb Durbin, who obviously meant a lot to our franchise. But we feel really good about the infield depth, both now and in the future as well.
Well, and how much of this, Hunter, ends up playing itself out, maybe at third base with that depth, because of the guys that are going to be gone for the World Baseball Classic. Now, I get like even the biggest Dave Gasper prospect hoarders and lovers don't expect, I think, Andrew Fisher to break camp as a starting first baseman, right? I don't think that you're anticipating, maybe Tyler Black got his way in there. He's going to be playing for Team Canada. But for a Jet Williams who might not have played there a ton, you're going to have a ton of reps. Maybe Sal Frelick, that some people were bringing up yesterday, I saw, could be getting reps over at third base, and they might be able to work this out better because there's a lot of options and a lot of people that can get reps over there at third base early in spring.
That's something I was thinking about last night, where this is not your typical spring training. Joey Ortiz and Bryce Terang are not going to be there for a good chunk of this spring, depending on how far their teams go. Mexico for Joey Ortiz and the U.S. for Bryce Terang. So that is going to open the opportunity for, I think Jet Williams is going to play a lot all the time. Hamilton will obviously play. But then, guys like Cooper Pratt, Brock Wilken, what Matt Arnold continued to say was that they kind of consolidated their infield depth to get innings back, and innings meaning from Harrison, Drowan, and they've taken that infield depth and kind of cut it a little bit at the major league level, obviously, when you trade your whole third base depth chart over to the Boston Red Sox. But I think as much as we want to think that, obviously into the future, they feel really good about that left side, and you should, when you have Pratt and Wilken and Made and Fisher and Pena and all those guys coming up. But none of those guys have played at AAA yet. So we have to remember that it's going to take, it's a very outside chance that any of those guys, and I would think Pratt and Wilken are the only guys who really have a shot at the opening day roster, that make the opening day roster. But this is what Matt Arnold had to say about the third base position specifically.
Yeah, always open to additions, I would say first, but at the same time, look, I think there are a lot of ingredients here that we've talked about, and I had a conversation with Murph this morning, and for a while now, just kind of talking about some of the frameworks that we've talked about, and we're not really married to any one particular permutation of the infield here. I think there are a number of different ways we could sort this out. And look, I'm headed to Arizona on Tuesday. And so, once we get into camp, we'll be able to evaluate these guys, spend a little more time with them, talk to them about where they're comfortable. But yeah, feel good about the options that we have available at third, short, and second.
All right. Brewers love options. They love positional versatility. But the blueprint is not to have Sal Frelick or Andrew Vaughn play third base any significant amount of time. Is it? It can't be, right? That's just not in the cards.
No, I wouldn't think so. We'll get to Sal here in just a moment, but I do think the Jet Williams thing is interesting because this guy is a middle infielder by trade.
Play him at short, move Ortiz to third.
And that's exactly that's what I am kind of thinking, because if you say, okay, Jet, you're not only going to make your major league debut, but you're going to make it at a position you hardly have ever played, if any, in your life. That is two huge monumental steps in a career. So having maybe just spring training experience doing it. I do think they obviously love Jet Williams. They wouldn't have made this trade if they weren't thinking this guy's pretty close to ready. But let's hear what Matt Arnold had to say when I asked him about Jet Williams possibly playing third base.
Certainly value Jet a ton, as you guys know, and I think giving him some reps at third base in camp is probably something that you'll see. Obviously at shortstop as well, and second base and the outfield. I think one of the things that we talked about when we got him was just his level of versatility and his willingness to kind of do everything, and kind of, again, how he fits our brand of baseball, is something that's exciting. And so, yeah, he's open to playing wherever, and we want to give him a number of opportunities, but again, we want to put him in a position to succeed because he hasn't played third base, yet, but he certainly has the ingredients to do so. So we're going to give him some reps there along with other guys as well.
Well, I still think it's fascinating when you mentioned the moving parts that I still wonder if Bryce Terang ends up factoring in over a short. Like, again, if he wants to, I think, but with him going at the World Baseball Classic, I don't think he's taking Bobby Baseball away from shortstop. And I don't think they're going to move Bobby Witt Jr. over off of short so that, Bryce Terang can take some ground balls over there. The spinning it to the fans, I thought is going to be fascinating because there's only a couple of ways to slice and dice it. You traded your best starting pitcher, somebody who has been with you for almost a decade. You move off of two guys that were in the top 5 in Rookie of the Year balloting. How many more times can you be right in picking this young player in a deal and you're maybe doubling down, believing that this talent evaluation thing a little bit better than everybody else? But I said it like, I think you could look at it and I'm a little bit bullish, especially if Woody is healthy. Like Drew mentioned when they made the Peralta deal, you don't make that deal if you don't believe he's ready to go. I think you could spin it as saying, yeah, we lost a lot of parts and hard to say we're going to win 97 games and have multiple double-digit winning streaks again. But I think talent-wise, they could be better. Like, I think there's an easier way to spin this with the internal development and another year of your young players with more young players that I think it might be an easier sell to the fans than some people are thinking of them kind of tearing something down that went to the NLCS from a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely feel good about your pitching options. There's no doubt about that. I think I would have been less surprised if they would have done this deal heading into next season compared to this season, just because I think your guys at the minor league level will obviously have another year under their belt. Maybe one or two has a little bit of major league experience as well. One of the things that I saw floating around on social media from fans yesterday was they were almost more sad about Caleb Durbin being traded than Freddie Peralta. And I think that is partly and mostly probably because we're all prepared for Freddie Peralta being traded, right? We're used to the 1 year left on the deal, Corbin Burns, Devin Williams, Josh Hader, Freddie Peralta being traded. We're not used to a guy who became a quick fan favorite. We love the way he played. He had clutch moments. He came up clutch a lot of times.
Especially in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, his defense was good over there at third base. He kind of took the world by storm as soon as he debuted. So I think, yes, absolutely, it fits into the Brewers mold. So I think all of that factors into the reaction to this, and I think it's justified, absolutely, to be sad about losing a guy like Caleb Durbin. This is what Matt Arnold had to say when asked about what his message would be to the fans about making this deal.
Caleb Durbin meant a lot to our franchise. I will say, like, somebody like David Hamilton plays with as much energy as that guy, for sure. I mean, Hamilton is a guy that we know very well. He's an elite base runner. He's really fast. He's a really good defender. He's an exciting player. Again, not trying to compare apples to apples here because they're both very different, but I think we're adding a player that fits our brand there in David Hamilton. And then when you talk about the young pitching that we're getting, that's major league ready and really exciting, to add to our stable of good young arms. I mean, especially weathering the loss of somebody like Freddie is something that we're really excited about. I mean, Harrison's not that far removed from being one of the best pitching prospects in the sport. Drohan had an outstanding year last year in AAA. So both of these guys are really exciting for us to add. So I think that the combination of both the infield depth and the rotation depth is something that we feel really good about.
No lies in there. He didn't try to say he's a good hitter. Like he said, he's a really, really good base runner and a good defender. And 500 OPS would say that he's not an offensive player. But if you have some versatility and he's a gamer and he can take over for that spot of Pat Murphy's, favorite player being Caleb Durbin, maybe that grit is going to be helpful.
For all the Brewers' prowess in polishing up pitchers and getting them to be the best version of themselves, guys like, Monasterio and just kind of like the baseline replacement level guys, they seem to get a lot out of those guys too.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't know what the ethos is there or what the reason is, but it does seem like they have. Now, Sigler went through a big dip, like he was really scuffling. Small sample, all that, right?
But it's Anthony Siegler, right?
Not
Like
gonna
I'm
be
not
horrible.
going to.
I'm with you, Billy.
Like, as much as I'm going to be more happy, Drew, like you said, for the wins you're going to get from Monasterio for blaming you for Hector Gomez or Anthony Siegler not being able to perform.
Hunter, is there
Straight for that
any
poor guy.
chance that they're not done yet? They're always looking to be creative, and then there will be guys who are out of options at the end of camp. And I'm old enough to remember when they got Niger Morgan right when they were leaving Arizona. They got Niger Morgan, who ended up playing. It made no headlines. Like, hey, they got this outfielder. Great.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Being Tony Plush and a cultural phenomenon.
You just never know.
And getting a hit to win a playoff series, like. Okay.
Throwing out more first pitches than Robin.
What does your
Yount.
Spidey sense say, Hunter? Is there a chance they make an addition somehow, some way, before they start the regular season?
Yeah, I think there's a real chance of it. I think we have to be careful of, they made this trade because they know another deal is coming. Well, that next deal may not come. So you have to, when you make a trade, you have to be comfortable with what you got. And he said, and the organization has said that they are, comfortable with their infield depth right now. I don't think it's, depending on what Jet Williams does, right? If Jet Williams slots in at third, he has a definite chance to be better than Caleb Durbin. So if that guy is your starting third baseman, okay, then I get it. I think David Hamilton you're a really good team if David Hamilton's your Andrew Monasterio. I think so. Like where that goes in the depth chart, we shall see. You talk about being creative. Something they experimented in 2024 in the spring. Sal Frelick at third base. Matt Arnold was asked about that. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're always open to experimenting, and Sal's the best, and he's always willing to just do whatever it takes. So I think it's something we'll discuss when we get to Arizona. But he's also a really good outfielder, Gold Glove winner out there. We like him in the outfield for sure, and we like the other infielders as well. But I love that about Sal, that he's willing to do whatever it takes to help the team, and so. Certainly something that we'll potentially discuss and explore. Like you said, we've done that in the past, but I would expect he starts as a Gold Glove outfielder for us going forward. But again, open to having those conversations with him when we get to Arizona.
All right, great job spiking the football there at the end. The Gold Glove outfielder, I think
Kept
that's
saying
where it's gonna
it.
start. But the
ago.
other, I also don't know, guys. Is it because of the lack of options at third base that you're wondering if he should play third base? Or the ridiculous amount of options that you have in the outfield as well, right? Like Drew, you said it, like somebody's going to go down. One of those guys is Christian Yelich. So he's, last year, I think he plays the most games he's played in the last 7 years. So like it's difficult to not forecast injuries and more guys that you're going to need to play in the outfield. But it does feel like you just have so many athletes out there that you might want to move. I don't think he's going to play there. I think he's going to play right field and people can enjoy hanging out and getting the ball thrown to him by Sal Frelick in the right field bleachers. The pitchers, you mentioned Rowan earlier. Harrison is, formerly one of the top prospects in the sport and big time left-handed starter. And I know we already had our friend Mad City Brew saying, finally, we have a left-handed starting pitcher, not named Aaron Ashby with an opener situation. Like it does feel like they went for something they've been looking for a while. And Harrison has a chance if Chris Hook is the master that we believe to be a massive piece of this trade.
I think he is the piece. I mean, when Jeff Passan first tweeted out the trade yesterday, it was a headlining the deal is Kyle Harrison. This guy, if this trade is going to work out, I think Kyle Harrison has to be a significant part of this rotation going forward. But that's also to say you have a lot of other options who also, can be a very good part of this rotation and guys that have some major league experience as well. Kyle Harrison, when he made his debut for San Francisco in 2023, he was the number one prospect of the Giants system. He went to Boston in the Rafael Devers deal over the summer, was a big part of that trade. So the pedigree of this guy is there and the upside is clearly there. He just hasn't been able to do it quite yet with a 4.39 ERA in 42 games and 37 starts at the major league level yet. So it's just waiting for that to happen. And you think that you combine the Brewers coaching with a guy like that. And yeah, like you said, you could kind of turn him to gold, hopefully, and really get him on the right path and he's only 24 years old as well. This is what Matt Arnold had to say about both Harrison and Drowan when asked about the pitchers coming over to Milwaukee.
Harrison, obviously, super high pedigree guy that came over in the Devers trade. I mean, he's a huge part of that deal, obviously, and we've had a lot of good reports on him for a really long time, and at one point, I think he might have been one of the best pitching prospects in the sport, and so to be able to access him is really exciting, and a really good arsenal there with really good stuff. And the same thing with Drohan. He's kind of flown under the radar probably a little bit more than Harrison, but this guy dominated in AAA last year. I mean, he was very good. And strikes out a lot of guys and has really good stuff. And our scouts really, really like this guy. He was a very big part of this for us as well. And so the combination of adding both of those guys that we think could impact our team in 27 is really exciting.
Harrison's on the marquee, but the lefty could be the key to this deal eventually. Not right away, but in 2 years or a year or two.
The Chad Patrick mold, right? Dominate AAA a little bit later on in life.
Could
maybe
be.
Unearth something a little bit. I'm excited for it.
Could be. Hunter, last thing I got for you is that, Joey Ortiz isn't even eligible for arbitration yet. You think he's been around for a long time and stuff? Seems like it. He doesn't have that much service time. And Garrett Mitchell's interesting to me because I wonder, unless he is blows out in camp, unless he's really good in camp, isn't there a chance he could start in Nashville just to get some more at bats and get used to playing every day and, get back in a rhythm of playing?
Yeah, I mean, there's only enough roster spots for a certain amount of people, obviously. So it's
I think
options
left, minor league
Good
options.
point.
So
totally, I think so, and obviously you're paying him not much above the league minimum right now. So I think, I think that's possible. Get his legs underneath him, but I also think the organization wants to obviously see what they have. However, it depends on obviously how much Yelich is going to play in the outfield. I think that everybody would probably prefer Yelich to be that DH. And so you got Blake Perkins, who can be your guy who's in there. We all know Murph loves Blake Perkins.
Oh yeah.
But I do think Garrett Mitchell gets to see some time, whether it's right away, we'll see. But I am very much, me, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Garrett Mitchell back and healthy, because I think he's got
Me
that
too.
upside in there,
Me too.
and I want to see it consistently at the major league
Until
level.
it's over, I'm going to hold on to that belief, just like Marshawn
Yes.
Lloyd. Until it's over, I'm holding on to that belief. That
Hold on
one
to
day
that stock.
we get him
That's right.
right one day, and he's going to
One
be.
day.
I've been a big on that, and moving. I think moving Ortiz back to third, where he had his best success as a major leaguer.
Hunter, great run today. Thank you,
Tremendous
buddy.
job.
Thank you, Hunter.
Superhero
electric
performance.
You're our hero.
Oh, you guys
And,
are my heroes.
We're going to hear from you again tomorrow as you warm up to sit in the seat here next week with your interview with Daniel Vogelbach. So you'll be back on the show tomorrow.
Can't wait for that.
Yes, looking forward to that.
Thanks, bud.
See you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Hunter Baumgart bringing it to us. Hey, when we come back, Stan Van Gundy is going to join the program. We'll talk to him about the Howard Moore doc and what he got to hit. Howard
This
Moore
is gonna be
play for
exciting.
him.
Yes.
Stan Van Gundy will squeeze in some Bucks questions as well. Don't you go anywhere. We're still rocking the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Rolling along the Tuesday edition of the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, broadcasting live in Madison, Milwaukee, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app as well. Drew Olson, Billy Schmidt, Armin Sargan. We are happy to welcome the program special guest Stan Van Gundy joining us. The documentary A Road at Night about Howard Moore and the tragic accident we've been talking about. It starts its run at Marcus Theater in Madison on Thursday. It's going to run for a week. And Stan is featured in this. Stan, thanks for joining us. This is such a heavy topic because on one hand, we want to celebrate and keep thinking about Howard Moore. And on the other hand, thinking about it makes you realize how unfair the world is and how tragic the circumstance is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no better person in this world that I've run into than Howard Moore. And to see what happened to him and his family on a drive down just to see his wife's family is tragic. But I think the documentary that John Roach did, A Road at Night, is powerful, and it also celebrates the spirit of Howard Moore and his family and how they've moved past this and are trying to get on. I mean, it's an amazing family, and Howard's an amazing person who's still in there fighting.
You coached Howard, and I'm wondering, I think I remember his career to have the impact that he had. I think he scored about 100 points in his collegiate basketball career, but he struck me as kind of the Thanasis energy guy. What was it like to coach him? And when you were coaching him, did you think to yourself, this guy's going to be a coach at some point?
You know what? That's just a great analogy with Thanasis. I hadn't used that one. That's fantastic. But look, I've said, you're right. He scored, I think, 99 points in his college career. And I would argue that no one has had the impact on the University of Wisconsin basketball program over the last 30 years that Howard Moore has had. From his time as a player and a coach, he's been influential in recruiting so many of the great players, going back to his time as a student. As it's pointed out in the documentary, he was a big part of recruiting Michael Finley here. And then as a coach, he recruits a guy like Frank Kaminsky here. So Howard's had tremendous impact. And I didn't know if he would go into coaching, but I knew he would go into something where he was leading people, because he was just a great leader and a people magnet. He's a guy who cared about every one of his teammates. He's the best. I've been around the game my entire life, literally. My dad coached, and he is the best teammate I have ever been around, because his thoughts every day were on what can I do to help each and every one of his teammates. And it would be different with different guys, and he would do it. So I'm not surprised at all that he went into coaching.
Stan, that you hit it right on the head here, as you've been around teams your whole life, and team is just something that's so impactful, so important. And for somebody that loves team sports as much as I do, like watching the brotherhood and the camaraderie and friendship around Howard with all of his teammates is inspiring, but it's also one that out of the worst circumstances, somebody that loves teams like I do, it's inspiring to see how great of a friendship they are able to have and be brought together this late in life. That's rare. You talked about it just because of Howard and who he was, but that team, that takes a special group of individuals to be brought together and want to give back to their brother as much as they have.
It's a great point, and it's absolutely true. It really is a phenomenal group of people. But, one of the things that is talked about ad nauseum actually in sports now is culture. Everybody talks about culture. Well, Howard Moore is, in my opinion, responsible for the culture of Wisconsin basketball. He promoted, from his time as a player, that community and that close feeling. And, one of the hardest things for all of us who knew Howard around this tragedy is, if this tragedy had happened to someone else in the group, Howard is the guy we would have all leaned on. Howard is the guy that would have been there for everyone else. And so I think it is fitting that everybody, and literally everyone who was Howard's teammate or played at Wisconsin when Howard coached there, everyone has really come together to try to help he and his family as much as they possibly could.
Talking to Stan Van Gundy here on the Huddle, Drew, Billy, and Armin. You mentioned the culture and Howard's role in it, and it does strike me. 30 years ago, it's 30 years since you coached at Wisconsin, and they're on their fourth coach, and Greg Gard's been there since, took over for Bo in 2015. So that culture that you guys helped establish, that was kind of the ground floor of what has become one of the more successful basketball programs, not only in the Big Ten, but nationally. Go back to us when you first got to the field house. That wasn't the job then. It wasn't as shiny as it is now.
Well, it certainly wasn't. I mean, Stu Jackson, I think probably has never gotten as much credit as he deserves in the way that turned around. But listen, I mean, getting that team to the NCAA tournament after 47 years, a 47-year drought, and the recruitment of, Steve Yoder recruited Michael Finley, Tracy Webster, those guys, and then Stu recruited Rashard Griffith, and that momentum carried is what got the Kohl Center built, and things carried over from there. Obviously, Dick Bennett did a fabulous job, and then Bo Ryan, incredible, Greg Gard. I mean, now it's one of the most respected programs in the country. Howard was there at the beginning of that. He helped build the foundation of that. He helped put the culture in place, and then came back as a coach, helped recruit guys, helped further the culture. I really don't think anyone, as great as those coaches have been, Stu Jackson, Dick Bennett, Bo Ryan, and Greg Gard, I don't think anyone has had more impact on the culture of Wisconsin basketball than Howard Moore has.
That's fantastic. And the movie I wrote at night, this is starting Thursday. They got the premiere event. It's going to run for a week, hopefully longer. Hope a lot of people can go see it, especially our Madison audience. Since you mentioned culture and I brought up Thanasis before, I got about a quarter in the jukebox and ask you about the way the Giannis thing is playing out for us in the state of Wisconsin. Obviously, we can stand down now. We don't have to worry about it being traded again until it fires up in May when we start having to hear about it. What's your take? What's your take on Giannis? Is it a situation where the Bucks have to move on? We have to part ways amicably? Or is it a situation where maybe John Horst can pull a rabbit out of his hat, given some picks and some money to play with? He can fashion a team that Giannis wants to be part of.
Well, you know what? I hope for the sake of the Bucks that they can figure out a way to put a team around Giannis that has a chance to contend. Because I think Giannis has said it, and I believe him. He wants to be there. He loves Milwaukee, but he also wants to win. And he doesn't want to be part of a rebuilding roster. And hopefully they can pull that off. It's not going to be easy because they don't have a lot of assets right now to trade and move around him. But the bottom line is they've been a pretty competitive team this year when he's played because of his talent. And they do have some other guys. If they could find a way to put one or two other guys around him, I would hope that he could stay. And I think that's the decision that John Horst and the Bucks will have. Like, can we put a team around him that can contend? And if not, then we're going to have to start over. But you don't move a guy like Giannis without getting a real haul in return. Look, their biggest problem over the last few years has been Giannis's health. I mean, if he could stay healthy, and health in general, Damian Lillard was not healthy. They just haven't had a chance really to contend since that championship season.
Stan, you hit it on the head. If you're going to do it, you got to get a haul. And what we were going for was like the bargain bin in the front of Target. We're going to Costco and we're getting 3 carts. We're grabbing anything and everything we can if you have to move them. And in this day and age, like for an asset like him, that seems like the pinnacle of players that could be available. He would be the frontline center player. But it seems like there are some moves and some pieces around the fringes that the Bucks could be able to make. What do you think of like a Ryan Rollins? He might win like most improved player of the year. Do you think he could be a piece of something that they have going forward with him?
I think Ryan Rollins can be a piece. I think AJ Green can be a piece. Certainly Bobby Portis off the bench is a piece. Yeah, they've got some pieces. What they don't have right now is that second and third star. The guys who can really come in and, take over when Giannis is on the bench, take over when Giannis misses games here and there. That's what they're missing right now. They're going to have to find a way to do that if they're going to hang on to Giannis and contend. Look, it's not easy right now. I mean, it's tough in the league, and it's going to be a tough decision for John Horst on what direction to go with that roster. But Giannis, I guess I'm an old dude, and I long for the days where people stayed with one team for a long, long time, and Giannis is the Milwaukee Bucks. Heck, he's even a part owner of the Milwaukee Brewers. Like, these are guys that we need to keep around in their cities. So I hope they can figure out a way to do that.
How hard is it to fight off the instinct and the armies of the different big markets and the NBA media machine that seemingly wants these guys to move and matriculate to bigger markets when you are John Horst, when you are Giannis, when you do truly want to keep that in the place that you were drafted, in the hometown and all that? How hard is it to in that role to kind of fight everything off? Because it seems like it's inevitable, or a lot of people see it as inevitable, that they move on to a bigger market.
Yeah, you're right about that. And it's unfortunate, I think. I went through it when I was coaching in Orlando with Dwight Howard. And there is a pull, and the media wants people. But really what the media wants, I think, is they want Giannis playing deep into the playoffs. They want the stars deep into the playoffs. I don't think this talk was going on when the Bucks were winning a championship. You want your stars playing in May and June. That's what you want in the league. That's what makes the league great. They don't want their stars sitting it out, as it looks like the Bucks will be doing this year. And so hopefully they can put a contender around him, something that makes him feel like he's got a chance, makes the fans in Milwaukee feel like they've got a chance. Because, look, they showed everybody in that championship run, the fans in Milwaukee are as good as any team in the league. And we know that in college basketball. I mean, the Badger fans will match up with any group of fans in the league, whether it's football, basketball, anything. So there's great fans there. They've just got to have a product that they can really support.
All right, Stan, on the way out, we know you coached in Madison. You lived there for a while. You visited Milwaukee many times in your various capacities in the NBA. Did you gain a new appreciation from Milwaukee when Brian Anderson took you around? Because BA is pretty wired in this city.
Yeah,
I know he's taking you to places. I know you've been to X Golf. He's taking you around town. Do you have a new appreciation because of our pal BA?
Well, you know what? I've got both an appreciation for Milwaukee and an extreme appreciation for BA. I mean, he is one of the great, great people in the sports business that you'll run into. I mean, he really is. He taught me a lot. Don't blame my performance on him, but he taught me a lot. He's taken time to mentor me, and he's just a great friend. Look, I'm going back and doing a college game for TNT March the 2nd, just so I can work with BA again, since TNT lost the NBA, and that was really my only motivation for doing it. He's fantastic. Love listening to him on baseball. That's the thing I loved about working with him too, is because I'm a big baseball fan, and between him and Boog Shambi in Chicago, that's where I get all my baseball talk, and those guys bring me up to date. But yeah, I'm as big a Brian Anderson fan as anybody in the state of Wisconsin. I'll tell you that.
We're right there with you. He's a treasured resource. Stan, Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
We'll get you out here
appreciate
during
it.
baseball season. We'll have a couple of
Yeah.
sausages and we'll go check
No
out
doubt.
the game.
No doubt.
Absolutely. I love it. And I love the park out there.
Oh, fantastic. Stan, thanks for joining us. Thanks for talking about Howard. We're looking forward to a good run for the Doc this coming up this end of this week.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope everybody will turn out. It's a great way to see a powerful story and support Howard and his family because the proceeds are going to him and his family. So sort of, do two things at once.
Yep. Fantastic. Thanks, Stan.
So much.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan Van Gundy, join us right here on the Huddle. Time to close up shop. We'll drop the mic after that. A pleasure catching up with Stan Van Gundy. This is the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Sprinting through this Tuesday in the good land has been a joy. Attention, spoiler alert coming. Our Olympics update brought to you by Orthopedic Associates Wisconsin. There is a difference. OrthoWisconsin.com. Breezy Johnson and Michaela Schifrin finished 4th in team combined. And then Wiles and Molson get bronzes. Austria gets the gold and Germany gets the silver.
Oh, man. We need to get more gold.
Tough. It's tough. Breezy obviously won the gold when
Lindsay went down.
Yeah. So I was excited to see Michaela go. I saw Peekaboo Street on the broadcast. Good to see the legend. She won the gold in like 98 of the Super G, I think.
Yeah.
Former legend. Good to see Peekaboo out there broadcasting. I saw her on the internet.
Did she say peekaboo when she jumped out on the screen?
You know, it's a funny story about her name. We don't have a lot of time for it, but
I'm so sad.
She was named after a town in Idaho when her parents didn't name her for 2 years, and then they were required to. So they looked at the map and then said peekaboo.
That is one of the biggest surprises. You don't have to name the kid right away in the hospital.
It's technically not legally required, right? So.
Well,
get that social security card at some point.
At some point you need it. At some point you need the birth certificate. Some point you need it for for travel or for the health insurance. But otherwise, they're like, "What are you going to go with?" And we're like, "Can we get back to you in 20 minutes?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Listen, you don't have to tell us." Then there was that one moment where all of a sudden Pandora's box opens up, and you're like, "Drew, wait, we could put this off, and this could be a future us problem." Oh, we might have to do that.
Baby one.
Well, listen, I know there was one as I was reading on the Wake and Bake story of the day when somebody realized that again, you don't know if all this stuff is true or not. However, when it comes from a .org or .edu at the end, you think that it works out. .org had that, somebody said their daughter was born and named by the hospital. They said they put Famali. That was her name.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Once in a while.
Oh my gosh.
Wake and bake.
Apparently, if you
Speaking of Wake and Bake, and by the way, Peekaboo was teaching Snoop Dogg to ski. That's on the internet. So check it out.
Yes.
Now grab promo code Huddle. Get 25% off and free shipping at happyplace.com.
Yes.
Happyplacehemp.com and go check that out to be able to watch Snoop.
Absolutely.
That's the right way of watching Snoop.
Working these hours, everybody asks about sleep. The sleep aid from happyplacehemp.com
Easiest way.
definitely helps. So check them out. Use the code Huddle. Free 25% off and free shipping. All right. Tomorrow, hot take hump day, more fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. This show just flies by for the early birds. We'll see you tomorrow at 5.
Peace.